What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and we are back with another episode of the Doug Polk podcast. Today, we are joined by someone that I probably don't really need to introduce. You may know him as The Mouth, but before we jump in and talk with him, I want to quickly talk about a couple items with the podcast. Last week, we had Phil Hellmuth on. Always fun to hear what Phil has to say. There's some great quotes about luck in there. I would strongly recommend checking it out. I think you guys will enjoy that one. And then next week, we're actually going to be joined by Nate Silver. A lot of different subjects we could talk about there. He's been on a bit of a poker kick lately, so we'll, I'm sure, talk about some poker. And maybe we can dip our toes in and talk about some COVID stuff as well, although it's always a bit dicey when you jump into the COVID streets. All right, with that out of the way, we are joined today by Mike the Mouth Matusows. Mike, thank you for joining us.
What's up, Doug? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good today. We're testing out a new stream setup for people that are just joining now. And now that I'm seeing part of my intro might have got cut off. If so, whatever. I guess, shit happens. We're testing out a new stream set today. So some people complain they like to see both me and the guest so they can see our reactions and a little bit of the conversational back and forth. So trying something out a little bit different here today. And looking forward to talking to you about some of the subjects that we got lined up today. A lot of different stuff we could talk about. I think the thing that I think most poker players are thinking about at this moment is the World Series of Poker, kind of what's going on with that, some of the COVID stuff in place there. So I definitely want to talk about that. I think it would be interesting to talk a little bit about Texas poker. Obviously, I ran into you at a room here in Austin a few weeks back. We got to chit chat a little bit. That was pretty cool. So we talk about that as well. But before we get into any of that, how you been lately, man? What's new with you?
Oh, man, I can't complain. I mean, things have been pretty good. I mean, right now I'm in the middle of my worst losing streak I've had in 12 years. But before that, we got to go before that. Things had been really good for me. So luckily, I was able to handle the downside. In the past, I'd always gotten a lot of money, and then all of a sudden I bet sports and grenaded it all, and then I had a losing streak and I was broke. This time, I haven't bet sports in about 4 years. So this time, I was able to, overcome this losing streak and hopefully be all right.
Yeah, poker goes like that. You have your good streaks, you have your bad streaks. You just have to kind of deal with both, right? I will say that, the first thing that jumped out at me when I saw you was that I thought you were looking way healthier. Your spirits were higher. And I know you had some kind of difficult health stuff for a little bit there. For those of you guys that don't know, actually, Mike and I had the same personal trainer in Las Vegas, different time periods, but the same trainer. I don't know if that's actually a good pitch for him, frankly, but either way, we had the same trainer. And
he got me when I won that weight loss bet with Ted in 2008. I mean, he got me down from 240 down to 179. So I mean, he's a good trainer.
Oh, Dustin was your trainer for that? That's sick.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not his fault that my lazy ass starts eating hamburgers and pizza every day and sitting on my lazy ass. It's not. It's just, it is what it is.
We sent Dustin a picture, and actually, I still keep up with him every now and then. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Yeah, he's a really good dude.
But where I was driving that was, I feel like your health has kind of come a long way. What's your journey been like on the health front? Over the last years?
That's kind of like when I told you, I want to say, I had vacation last week, and kind of was a little bit not as what I expected, because I ended up being in a lot of pain. I'm most people don't understand my health issue. They just think, oh, Mike had a back surgery and he's fine or whatever. But I don't want to really touch on it a little bit, but not really get too far into it. But what I ended up, I had a spinal contusion on my spinal cord from they call it an uninjury related thoracic spine contusion on my spinal cord, and it almost paralyzed me. And so from that surgery, I developed this condition called intercostal neuralgia, which is like the most painful condition ever. So from 2014 to 2019, I lived in debilitating pain. And in 2019, they put a spinal cord stimulator in my back, which blocks the pain signal to the brain. And that relieved about 80% of my pain. And so that allowed me to have my life back.
That's awesome.
Which allowed me to start, playing poker at a better level. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's real hard to play poker when you're in pain all the time, but I've, even everything I've done, last 3-4 up until 2019. I mean, 2017, 18, 19, I was like playing WSOP events with a pain level of a 10. So, it wasn't really easy. And overall, I'm okay, but I do have another disc that's pressing on my spinal cord that they said that, in 10 years I'd have to take it out. And now we're on year number 7, and it's starting to act up, and I'm a little worried about it, because I don't want to go through that surgery again. And, so that's, that's kind of where I'm worried a little bit about. But other than that, hopefully, I'm walking pretty good. I had been feeling really good. Just the last few weeks have been a little bit tough.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to hear that you have some issues now, but
yeah,
it's good seeing you out of the wheelchair.
Yeah,
I feel like you got to get out there, move around, and I feel like the mouth is more boisterous and loud and kind of back, and so it's good to see that. So,
yeah, I've been pretty boisterous. I've been playing on some live streams lately. Just doing a guy we play in a private game with, Ryan Feldman. He just started Hustler Live, so I went down there really to kind of support the show for him. Help build some followers for him, and I talked a lot of shit on the show. It was fun. I had to felt like I was me being myself. And I won every day, so it's all good.
That's all you can ask for. So, what are you playing these days? What's poker for you like? Where are you kind of?
That's a good question. So basically, my whole life. Okay, so even when I was like really famous in poker, I was still a mixed game specialist. I mean, I played the highest mixed games in the world, and all of my money I made was pretty much from mixed games. And so up until I'd say COVID hit, it was always all mixed games. And then when COVID hit, I got an invite to a pretty good, a really good private game. And the next thing you know, I'm just played nothing but no limit hold'em since, I don't know, November 2019, going on 2 years. So with that said, I am actually starting next week. I'm going to be playing just mixed games on a site just to get myself in the flow, because, with the World Series coming up, that I enjoy playing mixed game tournaments. I mean, I love, I'm one of the best 08 players, stud 8 players in the world. And like the other day, I walked by somebody in a big game. They're playing stud 8, and I go, what game are you playing? And he goes, I'm playing stud 8. And I'm like, oh my God. I forgot how to play that game. I was joking around with him, And well, actually, I was kind of serious, not really joking around, right? So, but it's like one thing I learned, and again, this is before I had this little losing streak the last 6-7 weeks. But when you're good at no limit hold'em, I mean, you just win. You know what I'm saying? It's not like
I know.
Yeah, it's not like you don't just in the mixed games. It's like, you win 30,000, you win 30,000, you lose 30, you lose 40, you lose. You're like, and then you have those big losing days, right? Fucking no limit hold'em, man. If you're playing good, you don't have those big losing days. You win 30, you win 30, you win 30, you lose 10, you lose 10, you lose 10, you lose 10, you win 30. Or at least that's how I thought it was until I had this losing streak. But overall, most of the time, if you're really good now during my upswing in the no limit hold'em, I was playing really, really, really good. And as you know, when you start losing, all of a sudden you lose your confidence a little bit. You start your moves that you make end up being wrong. Your calls should have been folds, and it kind of snowballs a little bit. So when you're running good, it's a lot easier to play good. And then when you're running bad, you doubt yourself a little bit, and you play and you don't play as well. And what I did is I found myself playing a little too aggressive. Using that's what I do. I use my image, and I steal a lot of pots. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, "Oh, Mike's so tight. Mike's so tight." Yeah, I'm so tight because you don't see when I'm not so tight. So, anyways, I because I had this image in this game that I'm so tight, and I made all this money in this game, and the next thing you know is, the game got a little bit tougher, and they stopped paying me off. So I started making a lot more moves, a lot of more big bet bluffs, and then I got caught a few times, and then
circle of life.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden aces started getting cracked, kings started getting cracked, and then all of a sudden anyways, what I've kind of turned it around here the last week and a half, where I'm up a little bit the last 2 weeks, and I kind of went back to my bread. You know the old saying in poker: if you're running really, really bad, what's the best thing to do? Tighten the fuck up and just play ABC until the cards start coming your way and you get your confidence back. And so what I did is I just tightened my game back up. I tightened it way, way up, and I've lowered my variance a little bit, and it's gotten me my confidence back, and I feel like I'm playing really good again. So.
Well, that's good to hear. I got a couple of different directions I kind of want to take this. I think my first question for you. So, I think when you look at the way that poker has evolved over the last, I don't know, let's say 10 years, especially the last 5 years, we're seeing more and more people move over towards styles that are more based around game theory and solvers and GTO. And I think I've seen you occasionally have some input about your thought on all those things on Twitter and whatnot. What's kind of your take on this? Because I think you have a couple different ways you can go, right? Like you can go with what Negreanu has done, where he's really focused more on learning and embracing and trying to become part of understanding what the GTO solutions look like these days. Or you can go more of a Phil Hellmuth route, where you kind of go more with your kind of reads and what's always worked for you, and you're less concerned about that, putting time there. Where are you at with that? Are you sort of more in the middle ground? Do you lean more
I am
away?
in
What
the
are your
middle.
thoughts?
I'm in the middle because I see. This is my opinion. I always thought Daniel was one of the top 5 card readers in the world. I can't tell you how many times he'll say, "You got King Jack. I know you got King Jack,"
And still call, right?
And then he'd call, right?
Yeah.
But he was really good at reading, right? And so he's took it, I think, a little bit too far extreme to the GTO part, and he's not using his talents as much. That's my opinion. Okay, I don't have to be right, you know what I'm saying? But I, he did just come off winning the Poker Go Cup or whatever. So I got to give him credit. But like, I mean, in poker, I talk to Phil like, I don't know, 3-4 days. We talk a lot. We're pretty good friends, and we talk a lot of strategy and stuff a lot of times. And I don't want to talk about what we talk about, but we really do have the same thought process when it comes to tournament poker and other things. But the difference between me and Phil is I'm willing to sit down with somebody and they explain to me a lot of the GTO theories that people are and solvers that people are going on, where Phil doesn't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Phil's just like, this is the way it is. I know how to play. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm either right or they're wrong, right? So in my thought process is, I'm not Phil. Phil wants to say at the end of it, and it's all over, that I'm the best poker player that ever lived. Okay, I got no interest in that shit. I don't give a fuck. So I tell Phil all the time, well, if you want to be the best poker player ever, okay. Whoops. Did I lose you?
No, you're here.
Okay,
we got you.
Something wrong while displaying website. Reload.
Uh-oh. Could have some variance here, guys. Hopefully the tech problems.
Okay, we're back. Okay,
cool.
So I said, Phil, if you want to be the best poker player ever, you need to work with somebody, study GTO, okay? Use all your skills, because he is very skilled with reading people, and then go in there and start winning some of these high rollers, so you get the respect of people, in the high roller area. And so, me, I have no interest in. I call the high rollers as seeing whose dick is bigger, because the high rollers, it's just you see it like one guy dominates one year and next guy the next year. I mean, you don't see the same guy dominate. It's like the money's just going to go round and round and round. It's just, they're all great players, and the truth of the matter is let's just say you take the greatest player in the world. I don't know who that would be right now. You can name somebody. Okay, I don't know. Okay, we'll throw this. Who's the hottest guy? Eli Asmarek, whatever his name is.
Ali.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just say he's the best player. Okay, we're not. Sure. I'm just going to go out and say, right? And then you put me. Okay, let's just say he's better than me, and let's just say he's this much better than me, right? It would take 10 years for that to show. You know that. As long.
In what format?
If you're playing, playing the same tournament every day, it's not like he's going to run me over. I'm a good enough poker player to know where I'm at. You see what I'm trying to say? And what I'm trying to say is like once listen, I believe that all those high roller guys are like about that much better than I am. You know what I'm saying? And that much is a lot. Okay. But in the realm of things, when you're playing cash games, when you're playing tournament poker, you're not playing against all the best in the world. That's why Phil does so good. You got to play. How good are you against the bad players? Because you're going to be playing against bad players 90% of the time, unless you want to play high rollers and then see whose dick's bigger. So poker's about making money, okay? And to make money, you play against people you're better than, and that's what I've always done. And for a while, I mean, back in the day, my ego was real big and I just played everybody. I'm the greatest. But that's a bad attitude to have. But the attitude to have is, and it took me a long time to figure this out, Doug, is playing a game where you're the top 3 player in the game at all times. If you're playing a 9-handed game where you're the top 3 player in the game at all times, you're just going to win. And so
you gotta jump in some heads up games, Mike. You'll be top 3 at all times in those. I like your points that you're making here. I do think it kind of matters the way that you're going to look at being the best. So for starters, I think an obsession with quote being the best is just kind of stupid because there's so many different forms of poker.
Agree.
I think if you want to be the best at one form of poker, that can make some sense, but there's no way you're going to be the best at everything. And then once we start to get into this game of, well, who is quote the best? Well, what are we going to weigh, right? I'm sure that Helmuth would say that bracelets should count for a lot. I'm sure that the online guys would say that building your bankroll from scratch online and becoming a top player is worth a lot. I'm sure the high roller guys would say the high rollers are worth a lot. I'm sure the big field guys with the big fields matter more. I'm sure the cash games guys would say that, it'd be a mix of you need no limit or you need halo or you need mixed games. You need this, that, or the other. There's so many forms of poker that trying to be just quote unquote the best at it is a bit silly. But it does kind of come down to 2 different schools of thought, I think. Either A, you're the best in ability and you're the best maybe in how you have fared against world-class competition, or you're the best in dollars that you have made playing poker. And I think that it doesn't, neither one is inherently wrong. Right. You can say that poker is about making the most money, and if it's your job, that's probably true. Right. But if we're talking about actually being the best, I don't think that it is just how many dollars you make. I think that to be the best at a game type, it means you have the highest ability. And I think a lot of the guys are trying to prove themselves in venues like the high roller circuit.
Right. And again, and you made a good point about, proving themselves. Okay. So like when I was young, when you were young, you'll go with this, we're hungry, right? We're hungry. We want to prove to everybody that we can be on the same stage as all these great players. And we go in there fucking focused. I tell this story because Phil never remembers this, but like the first time I ever played with Phil Helmuth, right? This was 1997 in a limit hold'em event, right? And I knew I was a really good. Like I was at between 96 and 90. Well, however, I was like top 3, top 4 limit hold'em players in the world, and so. The first time I played with Phil Helmuth, like Phil raises, he doesn't even remember this hand, but I always like to bring it up to him. He raises, like I re-raise, I had ace queen, And you remember back then, raise, re-raise in limit poker, it's like people have hands. There wasn't people like 3-betting 5. I mean, the good players were, but not many people. I re-raise my ace queen, right? Anyways, he calls. Flop comes like ace, blank, and he check raises me and I call. Then he bets and I raise him on the turn. He calls and he bets then he checks and I bet the river and he calls. And I'm like, this guy's supposed to be the best in the world. He just pays me off with ace-8 after I 3-bet him pre and raise his ass on the turn. I'm gonna fuck this guy up, right? And so he never remembered this hand, but I remember it because you always remember the first hand you play against people that are named players. You know what I'm saying? And so that was the first time I really said to myself, I'm a lot better than I think I am. And, then, one thing led to another. And then I got so bored of winning at limit hold'em was, I just won every day. It's too easy. I was so much better than everybody else. It's like, even when I ran as bad as you could run, I would like break even for the day because I would steal so many pots because people were weak back then. It was just like if they didn't have top pair and you raised their ass on the fucking turn, they would just fold. Flush card hits and you raise, they would fold. I mean, I don't want you to be jealous here, Doug, but poker was fun back then when you could just run people over, And even though people say, Mike Matusows is so tight now, yeah, but up until 2006, I was the most aggressive, feared poker player in the world. Like I was so aggressive. Like and Phil will tell you, he feared me more than anybody. You know what I'm saying? But you have to, but that also helped me in 2007, 2008 make 4 WPT final tables because everybody thought I was just lunatic, Mike. So I realized that once Card Runner started teaching bet sizing and stuff like that, because that's where I got was able to steal from people, like the way people threw their chips in. If they threw it in like a certain way, they had like aces, kings. If they threw it in another way, they were weak. And so that's how you picked up on weakness. So once they taught bet sizing, poker got a little bit tough. And so then I became Mike the Nit for 07 and 08. And I just kept getting paid off just being a nit. And then they realized Mike's a tight nit now. And then 09 was a disaster because nobody would pay me off. I couldn't. And so then I had it took me, and then I had the UltimateBet scandal where they stole millions from me. So that took away my ability to pull the trigger, and it took me. Took me a good 4 years after that, probably.
What kind of ended up happening with UltimateBet? Because when Black Friday went down, I was only on Stars and Full Tilt, and then obviously Stars paid out pretty quickly, and then Full Tilt, it was a bit of a fiasco for a while. Ultimately, Stars bought them out and paid out all of the player balances. I didn't have a balance on UltimateBet, thankfully, and I remember hearing about different updates, different points about people getting paid their money back. What ended up happening with the UltimateBet? Was there some sort of payout to anyone? What happened?
Prahlad Friedman he actually had the most taken robbed from him, and he still beat the game. He beat the game, and he had like $1 million stolen from him. He got paid back. I got paid back $345. But that was before I got paid back. That was before Black Friday. Okay. So we got, so this cheating scandal happened in, I think it was 08. People got paid back by 2009, 2010. I'm not quite sure. And then the Black Friday hit, and all those people had money on that. And
you're talking about the super using scandal first, right?
Yeah. I was talking about the super user scandal.
So for the people that might not be the most familiar with this, it happened a number of years ago. There was a super user scandal on UltimateBet. I think the player's name was Pot Ripper, right? Pot Ripper was one of them, or was one of the bigger ones.
I mean, Russ Hamilton used to call me every day to play him head up Omaha 8 or better, and I was the best Omaha 8 or better player in the world, and this guy crushed me. So finding out afterwards that he was seeing the cards didn't shock me. I mean, I lost 53 out of 54 sessions at one point, and I knew I was getting cheated. You could just feel it. I'll never forget.
Actually, I know exactly what you're saying, Mike, because I played a heads-up session 8 or 9 years ago, and I was playing a guy, and I have never felt like I was getting cheated in my entire life. Never felt that way. Yeah. And this guy was just constantly making the right decisions. And then we played one of the most ridiculous hands in my entire life. I basically opened 10-4 suited. The flop was King 9-3 rainbow. Check, I see bet, get check raised. I bet 3-bet the flop. He calls. Turn is a jack. So turns a queen. King 9-4 queen. King 9-3 queen. I have 10-4, so I have nothing. Checks. I bet. I do pick up a flush on the turn. He calls. Rivers a brick. Check. And he just has jack deuce. So he just had jack high and just put in all of the money, re-raising, just whatever. And I said, I know I'm getting cheated here. So I emailed PokerStars. They froze his account. And I got a call from Stars, and they said, hey, we just want you to know that in my history working here, I've been here for years, we've only ever paid people back their money on a handful of times, maybe 5 times ever. It's almost never going to happen, but we are freezing the account, investigating this, but you should not have high hopes that you're going to get any money back. And I think that the player won about 35,000 off me, or 40,000. I forget the exact number. He set at 510, ran all the way up, played 25-50, whatever. And then they investigated it. A few months later, I got a call. Hey, we have concluded you were certainly being cheated. We're sending you back every dollar this guy won. Here's all your money back.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, people like to cry when they're losing. Oh, I'm getting cheated. Oh, the app screwed up. Oh. But the truth of the matter is I know for certain I only felt like I was getting cheated once, and I ended up I was, and that was on the UltimateBet scandal. One other time I felt on this about 5 years ago that I got cheated, only because the site was like pretty much over. Like I had won all the money playing PLO 8 and everything, and there was no games left. And all of a sudden they decided to start 100, 200 horse in Omaha 8, right? And I sit down and I start all these new players to show. Oh, we brought and I lost every single hand, like 3-bet, 4-bet, and like hands where they had no right being in the hand, and I lost like 100 and I don't remember what it was, but I'm not sure I got cheated there. I mean, I was multiple tabling, like 3 tabling, 100, 200 online. It's a big fucking game, and I could have just ran bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm not for sure. That was the only other time that I thought maybe I was cheated, but the first time I definitely was, and it was proven that I was. But all the rest of the times, I go in losing streaks. I never feel like I'm getting cheated. You can feel it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you just can feel it. So people are like, I got a friend like we plays on the same one of these home games that I played, and he's all like, the app's rigged. There's something wrong with the app. I play enough online poker to know something wrong with the app. And I'm like, this is my answer to him. It's like, yeah, you're not winning what you should win. Yeah, this idiot over here is winning more than you, right? I said, but if the app's so rigged, you're still winning after 6 months. I'm still winning pretty good after 6 months. Yeah, are we not winning or we're better than these other players? Yeah, I agree. But that's just variance, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I have this fight with him, and Phil won't play. Oh, there's something wrong with the app. I'm just like, Phil, it's poker, dude. You've been playing for 32 fucking years, man. What, you've never seen bad players go on rushes? I've seen bad players go on rushes for 2 years straight, and then 3 months they're broke. I mean, it's just what poker is,
Yeah, definitely. I've not really dabbled in the app scene, but you do have to be careful with a lot of those kinds of things, and you should always be skeptical in today's day and age that you're getting a fair game. Quickly here, guys, just want to give some shout outs here. Thank you everyone for tuning in on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. We are live on all of the platforms now, and in the future, if you do want to watch these live, if you are listening recorded, you can check them out on those platforms. Want to say thank you to all the good people tuning in today. Now, I think it's time to go ahead and jump into our main story I want to talk about a little bit today, which is the World Series of Poker. The World Series of Poker they're in a tough spot, and kind of just going back to last year with the COVID outbreak, it was clear that WSOP was going to have some problems. They shut it down last year. They do an online version. This year, they delay it to the fall, and now we're looking at a World Series of Poker that's going to take place from roughly late August to late November. Late September. Late September to late November. So roughly 2 months, about the same length of time, but they moved it from the summer slot to the fall slot. I think that it's kind of a weird change. It feels a little different with WSP happening in the fall. But I think the main question here on everyone's mind is what's going to kind of go down with COVID, because I'm not sure if you've seen the rules here, Mike, but essentially Rule 115 in the World Series of Poker guidelines gives them basically full authority to take anyone out that if they think there's even any risk of COVID in any capacity.
Didn't they change that though?
Well, they updated it, and if you're vaccinated, then you essentially have a lot more rope. So if you're vaccinated, the bar it takes to be pulled from the tournament is much higher. I don't know if you have to test positive.
And I'm really against that, and I've been vocal about it on Twitter. Is the fact that this is a new study out of Israel. This was just like 2 days ago. Okay, they're the most vaccinated country in the world. They're like 99% vaccinated, yet like something like 70% of all new COVID cases are people that are fully vaccinated, right? And right now their hospitals are filling up with vaccinated people from the new variant. So I just don't think that it's fair to people that don't want to get. And listen, I'm vaccinated. I have underlying conditions. I thought that for me it was a benefit. The benefit outweighed the downside. But like if I'm somebody your age in great shape, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Mike.
Why would you want to put a vaccine into your body that you don't know what's going to do long term? You know what I'm saying? Like if you're like over the age of 65, like I get in this big fight with my mom. She doesn't want to get the vaccine. She's 84 years old, right? And it's just like, what, Mom? You're 84. How long you're not going to be around. The long term effects aren't going to affect you, but the short term effects, it just outweighs it. So I'm just a person. We live in America. It's free. All I heard from forever was my body, my choice, my body, my choice. Well, now all of a sudden it ain't my body, my choice. It's fuck you. If you don't get vaccinated, you're affecting other people, but that's just not true. Okay. And it's just like, If they want to not get vaccinated and they want to fucking die, get hospitalized and die, God bless them. It's their choice. You know what I'm saying? So I think these mandatory vaccines are really bad. I think it's un-American. I think, it's like, there's so many different diseases in the world. Are they telling people you can't come in because you're not vaccinated for this, or this, or you know what I'm saying? And there's people that are just going to disagree with me, and I really don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, people are so quick to give up their freedoms. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we have freedoms in this country. We are the only, Joe Rogan hit it right on the nose. We are the only free country. Our country's built on freedom. It's built on this, you being able to do whatever you want. And I just think between the YouTube censorship, the Twitter censorship, the vaccine I think we're just kind of tilting away from what the country is built around. So,
well, I'm gonna a lot of stuff there to talk about. I'm just gonna kind of pick on a few certain points. The thing about the vaccination percentage of people in the hospitals, it is overwhelming. If you look at the number of people, if you look at vaccinated versus not vaccinated, your chance of being hospitalized from COVID is tremendously higher if you are vaccinated. So I think that's the most important takeaway from a hospitalization standpoint.
Correct.
And then also your chance of dying from COVID is tremendously higher unvaccinated versus vaccinated.
Correct.
Obviously, if you're young and healthy, you're unlikely to die no matter what.
Correct.
You're super unlikely.
And this is the big point I have. Like, I have a friend, my best friend's 37 years old. He says you couldn't give him $10 million. Okay? He wouldn't take the vaccine for all the money in the world. He's already had COVID. Okay. He's 37 years old. He's in good shape. And he reads a lot about vaccines. Like he's pro-vaccine, but he does believe that there's a lot of these vaccines that kids have gotten autism from. You know what I'm saying? Now there's no, he does a lot of reading on it. So he's just like, well, I'm not taking this vaccine. If I've already had COVID, I already got the antibodies. I'm 37 years old. Why would I take the vaccine? And so for them to put mandates, like, you're not going to be able to fly, you're not going to be able to go here if you don't have a vaccine, that's just fucked up.
Well, that's where it gets kind of tough, I think, because let me give you two really extreme examples, okay, just to highlight the line. Yeah. Let's say that there was a virus that was, let's say that the Black Plague came back.
Let's say there was a real virus that killed people. Just say it like that, because this one is 99.5%.
I'm going to word the way I want to word it here. Okay. So let's just say that 1 out of 3 times you get this virus, you die.
Yeah.
And there was a vaccine that could prevent that.
Yeah.
Then obviously that should be mandated, because people need to not die from this virus and protect other people. And if everyone has the vaccine, this goes away.
Right.
Now let's say there's something that killed 0 people. It had no actual chance of death, no actual chance of major side effects. Obviously that should not be mandated. So there's clearly a line somewhere along the way. And the question that we have to ask is sort of, where is that line? And it's different for different people. So I think mandated vaccines can make sense if it is something that needs to be mandated. It's just the question is, what's that line, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. I just don't think that if you look at the numbers, the data, and everything's out, it's like, okay, so if the odds of a healthy person under 30 with no underlying conditions of dying from COVID are what, 0.0002% or something like that. And so, like, why should, and again, the NFL's sitting there saying, if you're vaccinated and you get COVID, no big deal. But if you're unvaccinated, your team's going to forfeit a game. I'm like, the science says that the people that are vaccinated carry even more of a viral load than if they get COVID than the people that don't. So I just think that's really kind of unfair. You know what I'm saying? And again, there's a lot of, I mean, you know as well as I know, there's a lot of fake news going around. A lot of, it's easy for them to tell you one thing and not be true, just to push a narrative. Is what I'm saying.
This is my main point in favor of the vaccine. If there was real chances of long-term effects that were negative, why are 97% of healthcare professionals taking it? The people that are actually experts in health, why would they be taking it? Even the young people, even the healthy people, they're taking it. Why would they be taking it if they really felt that there was some serious chance of side effects?
I'm with you on this. I took the vaccine. I'm fine with it. But all I'm saying is, we live in America. If people are anti-vax and they don't want to take it, they should not be. It's just like it's kind of like segregation, right? So, in the early parts of this country, they just segregated you, black, white, Latino, whatever. And the media now is segregating people, vaccinated and unvaccinated, and turning people against each other, because that's what the media does. And so I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm on the vaccinated side. You see what I'm saying? I just look like, but I do have people, I have friends that, there's people, religious people. Okay. I mean, I know a couple of people that are really religious, and they think that the vaccine is like the mark of the beast, and that you're not going to go to heaven if you take the vaccine. But that's their own see, that's what I'm trying to say. That's their own choice. And for them to be segregated because their religious beliefs believe that now, do I believe that? No, but people have their own beliefs, and I just think that they should, nobody should harp on them because they have these beliefs. I mean, there's a lot of big name poker players that are anti-vax, and I'm sure
like who are the big names?
Well, I mean, Alex Foxen. I mean, he's just irate that he can't go to the World Series because he's not vaxxed. But he's a young guy. He's in great shape. He doesn't want to take the vax. And now you're talking, it's kind of bullshit. I'm on his side. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a few others too. I mean, there's I'm so brain dead, but I don't want to just he's outspoken about it. So sure.
I assume when you said there are others, I thought that they had said it publicly. Obviously don't out people.
Yeah. I don't want
to. If there are people that have said it publicly, that's
there's people who have called me like, this is fucking bullshit. There's no way I'm taking a vaccine. Tony Cousineau. Okay, I mean, you might not know who he is, but he's most times at the World Series without winning a bracelet, whatever. He's completely anti-vax, right? And so it's like. There's so many, there's a couple of, but the point I'm trying to make is so now you're going to tell these people that they can't play poker and compete because they're young and healthy and they have not, even if they get COVID, like if I get COVID, I'm going to be fine. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I think that it's just not right, because now if it was like it was in June when COVID numbers dropped way down to almost zero because of the vaccination, well, then I'd be like, okay, you need to be vaxxed. We don't want, we want to try and get rid of this. But now with the new Delta variant and the vaccine is not blocking it, I just think that it's a fine line there. I just don't think it's right. And, we'll see what happens. I think that the attendance of the World Series, which I thought was going to be the biggest ever, is now going to be the lowest ever. That's just my opinion. So I hope I'm wrong. We'll see.
It's not going to be the lowest ever, Mike, because some of the original WSOPs had 20 people.
Okay, the lowest since 2000.
I don't think.
Let's go lowest since 2003.
Okay, so I guess the real question is this: what should So I guess actually let's open with this: should they be doing the World Series of Poker this fall? What do you think?
And my answer to you, honestly, as much as I want it, no. I really think they should cancel it, because this Delta variant. Okay, think about it this way. Right? Look how bad COVID is spreading with the Delta variant. It's fucking summer, Doug. Do you remember what happened in the winter last year? That means it's going to go 10x. Like by the time the World Series comes around, September or whatever it is, September, October.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about. So honestly, I've already had it, and I'm vaccinated. I'm not really worried about it, but. I think it's going to be, a fucked up situation. What's your opinion on that?
I'm kind of in the same camp. Actually, Mike, we're a lot more similar on our views on this than I thought we were going to be. We're closer to this than I thought we were going to be. But I kind of think that, it's tough. I guess on one hand, I think that I feel like people should get to make their own decisions for what they think is acceptable for themselves, and I'm kind of against companies and governments saying you should or shouldn't do this, so here's what you should or shouldn't do. So from that perspective, I'm kind of okay with the WSOP having their series and just saying, hey guys, these are the risks, we all know them, it's been a year and a half,
right?
You're going to be close to all these people, just that's the situation, here we go. I actually think that would be a little bit better than kind of targeting the unvaccinated people, and look, like, I know that it's pretty cool on the left to dunk on unvaccinated people,
Yeah,
and I think if you look at the data, you should get vaccinated.
yeah.
But people do get to make their choice, and they do get that freedom in this country. So, as it's written in the rules right now, you kind of can't play the series if you're unvaccinated.
No,
because
you can't.
if you're unvaccinated, you can just get pulled, and you don't get the same sort of rights as the vaccinated people. And so every time you buy into a tournament, seriously, part of the unvaccinated player pool goes to the vaccinated player pool in a way, if you really want to think about it like that,
Yeah.
because the vaccinated people just get to have that sort of leg up on other people.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
Ridiculous.
as long as people know, I guess it's not as bad, but it feels like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. There's no
let me
great
ask you
solution.
something. Let me ask you this question. Are we gonna have to 4 years from now, are we gonna be living with COVID? My answer is yes.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
So
100%.
it comes a point of time where you know the risk, you know your situation, you got to live with it. You know what I'm saying? It's part of life. That's why I'm against the mask. I'm against all that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little paper mask doesn't do fucking dick for you. Okay. If they're going to mandate something, mandate fucking N95 mask on everybody. Okay. Because these little cloth masks they're worthless. They're just like, they're like a what do they call it? Like a diaper. Like they're like a safety net. Oh, I'm wearing my mask. I'm not going to get COVID now. That's just bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And there's going to be a mask mandate at the World Series. And I'm telling you right now, I can't wear a fucking mask, man. I wear it for I don't know about you, but I wear it for 2-3 minutes and I can't fucking breathe. My glasses fog up. I can barely fucking breathe. Right. So they do have those shields that a lot of these high roller people wear. Right. And a lot of these poker rooms let you wear these shields, so I actually did find this, this thing came across my Twitter feed, because that's what they do now, of this clear mask that goes to your head, and it's anti-fog and it has holes in the bottom of it. And so I'm probably going to buy 2 or 3 of those, but
some places won't let you wear the face shield, I don't think.
Yeah, I know. So if I have to wear one of those paper shit masks, I will not be playing the World Series of Poker. That I can tell you right now. I can't, you know what I'm saying? And so I did buy this. I did order. I haven't gotten them yet. I ordered them the other day, but they're they go to your face. They're like a plastic kind of bubble, and they have holes at the bottom for anti-fogging. At least listen. I only got 2 of them. They're $19.99 a piece. Okay, just to see if they work. It's probably. I mean, they probably might not. But I know that there's no way I could wear a mask at the World Series. So I mean, some people have no problem. They wear a mask all day long. It doesn't even bother them. But I'm one of those people that when my glasses fog up and I can't breathe. Now, maybe if I had been, if I didn't stay home for a year and a half and I've been used to them by now, maybe it'd be different. But, I'm one of those guys. I stayed home for a year and a half, and then I got fully vaccinated. And the first time I went out, I got fucking COVID. So that's
pretty brutal, man.
It was pretty tilting because
that's pretty brutal.
I was but see, this is right before the Delta variant went crazy in the country. So nobody really kind of knew. They're just like, oh, you're 95% to not get COVID. And I'm like, wait a minute here. I'm like, I stay home for a year and a half. I get invited to the Conor McGregor fight in a suite. And the next thing you know, I'm home with COVID. I'm like, go fuck yourself, government. That's the first thing I said to myself was, fuck you, government, and you're 95% to not get fucking COVID,
Here's a take I have on this, Mike. I think that the messaging about the vaccine is all wrong. We've turned it into right versus left and this whole thing.
Yeah.
I think this is how we get everyone vaccinated. You ready for this? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take the American freedom medicine, or do you want to let science made in a Chinese lab potentially kill you? American freedom medicine. Freedom medicine.
Yeah, you got
a communist who's boss,
right?
With a round, 2 rounds, 2 bullets of American freedom.
That's a good
medicine.
idea. No, I agree with you. And the thing, what's funny is yeah, they've turned it right versus left, but the truth of the matter is, and this is why I fucking hate the media so much, is in New York City, only 27% or 28% of African Americans and Latinos are vaccinated. Okay, that's New York City. In the country, it's something like 32%. So What's the biggest voting bloc for the left? Blacks and Latinos. Okay. So they keep saying, well, the right's anti-vax. Well, that's just not true. If you go and you look at the data will show you who's vaxxed and who's not being vaxxed. And the truth of the matter is the biggest voting bloc, or the biggest block of people that are unvaxxed right now, are African Americans. And it's just like, okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to say you're not vaxxed, you're back to segregation because most of the black people are not vaxxed, or 75% of them aren't. So now you're going to say you can't go into Target, you can't go into this restaurant. We're back to segregation again, okay? Because again, I'm not making this up. Go look at the numbers, okay? 72% of unvaccinated people are African Americans and Latinos. This is not a made up number, okay? So if everybody thinks I'm just making up a number, go look for yourself.
Yeah, I mean that kind of makes sense. I think if you look at so first off, America has 350 million people, whatever the number is today. Okay, so and we're going to go into a binary party system. You're going to have some groups in each camp that are very different from other people in the camps. And if you look at black people specifically in America, they tend to be much more conservative than most of the Liberal Party, way more moderate. And then on some issues, they even are conservative as a voting bloc.
And they're very religious too. Mostly African Americans are very, very religious, and they're a lot of them are against this vaccine. And but you won't hear about that. Okay, you'll only hear about the narrative that the media wants to push. So that's why a lot of people are like, why am I so political? Why? Because it's not that I want to be political. I just want people, because most poker players, they play poker, they sleep. They turn on CNN, they play poker. And so I try and educate people, like, what you're watching is not true. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people, I have so many friends that are on the left. I have some friends on the right. I don't care what side you're on. Just realize that our fucking media is evil and they're out to fucking divide us for political purposes on both sides, not just on the CNN. Fox News does the same exact thing to divide us right versus left, because that's how they get people angry and that's how they get people.
Yeah, but I mean, that's been exploited not just by. I mean, that's exploited by the politicians themselves too. I mean, Trump was basically doing that in spades. He'd blame the media, but then he would do the exact same thing. So it's. I know
that 100%. I agree with you 100%. That's why I tell people all the time. Well, originally I was a big Trump supporter. By the end, I fucking thought the guy is just a complete idiot and a fucking moron. You know what I'm saying? But I did like his policies. I thought his policies were good. And and you see anybody who's paying any attention to what's going on in the country right now, it's like these policies that they put in 6 months' time, what they've done to the country is just, I just can't even, it's just it's unimaginable what's happened in Afghanistan. It's like impossible to what happened there. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm trying to give us some leeway on talking politics. I know people get a little upset. I think COVID stuff seems appropriate because World Series of Poker. But if we start talking about Afghanistan, I feel like we're gonna go a little bit off the rails here.
You're right. I don't want to. I don't really want to get too political. You're right.
So going back to the World Series of Poker, let's just say the following thing happens. So the main event is on. We get down to the final two tables. Somebody tests positive for COVID. They just forfeit their stack. Is that the situation?
That's the situation. That's what's going to happen. Think about that. Even if you're vaccinated, right? Like, you're down to like the last two tables. You're the chip leader. You get fucking COVID. You're just fucking toast, man. Like, you're just done. It's like, how could you play a big blind 5-day tournament, right? If you've never had COVID, let's just say, even if you're fully vaxxed, but you've never had COVID, like, around all these people we're going to be around, the chances of you getting COVID is over 50%, I think. Don't you?
Oh, man. It's so hard to put a percentage on that because I don't know what it's like in terms of people that are vaccinated and unvaccinated, and then in terms of how quickly Delta spreads and then how good the testing will be. It's hard to say. I mean, it's certainly somewhat likely, at least. I don't know. How do you play a big tournament? Can you really afford? Who are these people that are going to pony up $10,000 and play a tournament where they could just get kicked out and lose their money? And that just seems. It seems so hard.
And now that you brought that up, like, here's my thought process on it, and you tell me what you think. Okay, if you get COVID and you're in the money, okay, whatever, I think your stack blinds out and you get paid whatever. Okay, but I think that if you get COVID before you're in the money, I think they should get their money back if they're still in the tournament. Or you could give it back based on chip stacks too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
fair.
But let's just say, okay, so let's just say it's a $1,500 buy-in, right? And you start off with 40,000 in chips, and now they're 10 out of the money, and they got 20,000 in chips, right? I mean, what do you give them back? $750? You know what I'm saying? But again, that there needs to be. I just don't. I'm kind of with you on this, Doug. I just think it's a bad. I don't know how. There's going to be a lot of people getting COVID, man. You're talking about the most disgusting place in the world, the fucking Rio, the place where you get a fucking disease every year. Like I've been sick every year, but like twice in the last whatever it is, 16 years, right? And you think that fucking everybody ain't gonna start getting COVID? I mean, they're just gonna, And they've proven now that even vaccinated, the vaccinated people spread it just as much, if not more, than the unvaccinated. So once somebody gets COVID, I mean, this could be a fucking complete COVID fucking fest. I mean, I'm not gonna get it because I've already had it, and I could. I mean, I run pretty bad.
I mean, there could be new variants, man. And then also, is it 100% confirmed you can't re-get the same variant? Because I feel like I've heard mixed things on that.
No, I mean, you can, but I heard it's like you're 7 times more like, okay, so you're still something like, okay, this is what I read. So you're 58% to not 58% vaccine with the Pfizer. You're 42% chance with Pfizer of getting the Delta variant. If you have the Moderna vaccine, you're only 28% to get the Delta variant, 72% protected against it. So these are the numbers that I've heard. I don't know the Johnson & Johnson one, but those are the two that I do know those stats because this is what I kind of fucking do every day when I'm not playing poker is
look up COVID stats.
No, just see what's going on in life and seeing what the truth things are going on, and then seeing what the fake news is.
I found the stat you're talking about earlier about it's young Black people in New York, only 28%. I don't know if you said young or not, but it's just for younger people. Yeah, it's good. It's good to stay up on what's happening in the world. Obviously, you want to be able to try and make informed decisions and know what's going on. Yeah, I think an ICM chip payout, if you're not in the money, or maybe even just in general, could be a reasonable solution because okay, so let's go tinfoil hat for a minute here. Let's say you're deep in the main, and then someone says, you know what, fuck it, and they try and plant COVID on people. They know someone's positive. They get someone else to go give them a high five, whatever it is. Whatever.
Yes.
I'm
you're thinking like me, buddy.
I'm just saying what. Look, I'm not playing either way, so I'm not going to be involved in any sabotage plot. But what happens then, right? Because someone could do that. I mean,
I love it because see, me personally, I believe they're fucking dropping vials of COVID to keep the shit around. So fucking when you say shit like that,
who's they?
The fucking government. So
dropping vials. What?
Oh yeah, I'm a fucking because I know how sick these motherfuckers are. I think like that.
You think any government right now wants high COVID, they get voted out.
Yeah, because as long as they have COVID, they can have mail-in ballots. As long as they have mail-in ballots, they can steal elections.
Dude, COVID
I'm joking around. I'm not that far. I'm joking.
Okay.
Around. But I'm just saying.
Get your ass voted out, man.
If you said to me 100% that that's not happening, I would say no. I'd give it a 10% chance that that's happening. Okay, maybe 5%.
The Afghanistan thing might be hurting Biden a bit, but the COVID surge is definitely hurting him, and it hurt Trump too. And
killed Trump.
Debate. Yeah, you could make a strong case that it lost in the election. I mean, they don't want this. Nobody wants this. I don't. Maybe certain businesses want this. I guess. I'm sure the companies that sell face masks are pretty happy that this went down. But other than
I played poker with a guy on stream the other day, right? He was like the worst player I'd ever played with, right? And I'm like, but he was really nice. I'm just like, I looked at him, I said, what do you do for a living? I mean, the guy loses 50th pop in a 5-5 game every time he's playing. I just wondering what he did for a living. You know what he said he did? Because he goes, I manufacture. I can't say it with a straight face because it's so funny. I manufacture hand sanitizer and I sell ammunition. And I'm thinking to myself, is there anything in the last 2 years that's made more money than fucking ammunition and fucking hand sanitizer? Right?
It's a good combo.
He goes, well, I saw it coming. He goes, I just had to get into that business. You know, like ammunition sales are up 900%. Hand sanitizer is up like 9 million%. So I kind of laughed when he said that. I really couldn't keep a straight face. It was pretty funny. You know,
he might need to play a bigger game.
Yeah, that's what I told him.
He might need to move up a couple notches.
I tried to invite him into our home game, but I don't know.
So you're not going to be playing in the World Series of Poker then, or if they make you wear a mask? Is that
I ordered these, like I said, these 2 plastic things. They have a vent on the bottom, anti-fogging. They look good on the commercial and thing. And if they work, I am. But if I have to wear a face cloth, I will not be playing. That's just unfortunately, it's just the way it is. It's not that I don't want to. I just can't. You know. Now, will I play the 10K Omaha 8? Yeah, I'll probably play that with a cloth on because I find out
what do you like so much about the split pot games?
The best players win. That's what I like about it. Like in the old days,
is it the word best, or is it the player's name Mike win? Is it
the best? No, there's always when there's 3 tables left, like and there's 24 people left. 20 of the 24 are the best Omaha. It's just the way it is. The best split game. It's hard to explain, but like when you have them dead, I mean, with 1 card to come, I mean, when they have like 3 out, being over and over and over and over, it's just tough for them to get out. So it kind of like reminds me of like back in the day, like the best no limit players were just, you know, just like Rounder said, there's a reason why the same people make the final table of the World Series every year. That's just how it used to be. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, even when me and Phil Hellmuth made the final table in 2001, right? Like, and Daniel got 11th, but with like 18 people to go, 12 of us were like the 12 of the best players at the time. You know, that's just how it works.
How many entrants were there
in 2001?
Yeah,
there was 200 and no, that was no, there's more than that. 607. I thought I could be off by 1 or 2, but it's either 605 or 607. You know what I'm saying? And then in
it's so much small. It's like a different tournament compared to what the main has turned into.
Right, and even when Moneymaker won it, there was okay. So then there was 808 the next year, and the year Moneymaker, I think the year Moneymaker won it, there was 808, and there could have been 2300. I'm not sure. I think it was 808. I think the next year it went up to 500.
Let's look this up. Main event.
Look it up. What it was. 2001. I know it was. I think the year Moneymaker won was 808. I know it was that or the year before. My memory kind of sucks, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay, 2001, 613.
613. Yes, I was right on there.
Okay, 2003, 839.
839, correct. That was
2004, 2576.
Right.
Casual 3X.
Yeah, that was after Moneymaker won. So it was 839. That's what
2005, 5600. So over a 2X again, and then 2006, 8800.
Oh, the 2006 was insane. That's when poker was just the money. People that weren't around back then, but like kids were walking in with bags of money, and they would sit down in a cash game, and they're all online players, right? And that's why I used to think, like, back in the day, I'm like, these motherfuckers must cheat because they're fucking just horrible. They would just sit down. It's unexplainable the money they would pull out of their fucking nap backpack. And I'm just thinking, and the games were so fucking good. It was unbelievable. You know, what a time to be alive. 2006, 7, and 8 were just amazing days of poker.
What was it like back then? Do you have any good old school gambling poker type stories from back in the day?
Well, I mean, I used to play. It was from like 98 to 2004, so 6 years. I used to play 400, 800, Hold'em, Omaha 8, Stud 8. Those are the 3 games we played. It was me, Todd Brunson, Jennifer, a guy named
Jennifer Harmon.
Yeah, a guy named Curtis Bibb, who passed away in 2004, and a guy named Magic, and a guy named Tommy Fisher. Well,
Magic was definitely the winner in this lineup, right?
No, Magic and Tommy Fisher were the spots in the lineup.
It was a joke. His name is Magic.
Yeah, he's actually a really nice guy, but it was like he made a ton of money betting sports, And then him and Tommy Fisher, they just 20,000 a day, 20,000 a day every day. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they won, whatever. But I made a lot of money. I mean, I was making like 200,000 a month playing poker, and there was no risk. I mean, I just won. I won, Todd won. We all won. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the story I like to tell, the greatest one, the one that really. So we all played 4-8, and sometimes there was a 1,000, 2,000 game that went. That was with Doyle, Chip, Eli, maybe David Oppenheim. There was like 4 or 5 of them, right? But most of the time it was like 4 and 800. Sometimes we played 8 and 1,600. Anyways, the one weekend I leave the town. I left town. I had to go to Reno, and that was the week that Andy Beal came to town, and they were playing 10, 20,000 limit hold'em, and everybody put their money together.
Corporation, right? Corporation,
right? So that's the only weekend I leave town. Everybody put their own money up. Right. The next thing you know, I come back, everybody's playing 4,000, 8,000. And I'm playing, I can't barely get a 4-800 game to get together. And this is something I always like to bring up because it's so funny. So Doug Dalton, who ran the Bellagio poker room for a lot of years, right? So I come back and we're playing 400, 800. And I order a Fiji water, right? And they go, that'll be $5. I go, why $5? I don't pay for Fiji. He goes, unless you play in that big game over there, you have to pay $5 for fuck Fiji. And I go, fuck you. I said, I play with these motherfuckers every day for the last 6 fucking years. I leave town for 1 week. You want to charge me $5? It was principle. And then I didn't walk in the Bellagio for the next like 4 years.
What year was that?
That was 2000 and probably 2005.
Oh, okay. Because I turned 21 at what year was it now? I can't remember.
A long time ago, Doug. A long time ago.
09. And they were free at that point. So I mean,
yeah. So that was from that was 05 to about 09. Because that's how I was playing online at full tilt. I just didn't give a fuck anymore. I never went to the Bellagio again. And people will laugh at me like, why'd you act like that over a fight? I go, because it's principle. I could give a fuck about the $5. So Chow, who was playing with me, Chow would get me free water because he played in the big game. It was just Then there was a time like I'll never forget. Like Doug Dalton was the worst nicest guy in the world, worst poker room manager in history, right? And back then they used to, like, if you wanted a comp for food, they only had they had paper. It was paper comps, and they'd write you out a comp for like $15, right? But they only got like 50 of them a day, right? This is how Doug Dalton was. He's like, so I asked him for a food comp one day, and he's like, oh, Mike, these are for players. I'm like, what do you mean for players? He goes, you make a living playing poker here. I need to give these to people who don't. I'm like, what? I'll never forget that, right? I tell that story too a lot of times. Again, I don't want to knock Doug Dalton. He was a really nice guy, the worst poker manager in history.
Have you considered he was fucking with you?
No, he wouldn't give me a comp.
Well, I know, but have you considered maybe he was just fucking with you? Because these are some pretty $5 waters and no food comps. I don't know, man.
No. It was a true story, right? So, that's when so I didn't show up at the Bellagio for like 4 years after playing 16 hours a day, 7 days a week from 1990 fucking 6 through 2005. Really, I mean, nobody played more hours than me. I was, I always like to say that. Flashy, be quiet. I always like to say this, and I'll say it to everybody. In poker, you want to make money, you got to work. Okay, if you don't work, it's just like everything else in life. You work, you make money. You don't work, you don't make money. You're not going to sit around and say, oh, I think I'll play poker twice a week and I'll make this a lot. No, you got to fucking put in the hours. You got to put in the time. You just like when you study in the lab or whatever, it's the same thing. You gotta work. If you work hard, if you're a good poker player and you have good game selection, I mean, you don't even have to be an A+ poker player. You could be a C poker player with great game selection and great money management, and you're going to win. You know what I'm saying? And I've told people all the time, I'll take a guy. See, people don't realize, people say like Chip Reese was the best poker player that ever lived, right? He wasn't the best poker player that ever lived. He had a B to B+ game at all times. We're not talking about He never had an A game. He never had a B- game. No matter win or lose, he had a B to a B+ game. Okay. And when you don't ever tilt, and you don't give me the guy with a C+ B game that never tilts, that always plays in the lineup where he's a favorite. I'll take him over the guy who has an A game, let's just say David Benjamin, and also has an F game, okay, that goes on fucking full-blown tilt.
Is that David Benjamin has A games and F games? What's
he
have you heard
A games and Z? He has A games and Z games. I call him.
What's he doing these days? I haven't heard about Benjamin in a long time.
I haven't either. I have no idea what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Probably fucking conning somebody else and putting them in the fucking a game, and then he'll win, and then he'll take their money and go gamble it away on a fucking slot machine like he's always done. So, you know, he's one of my good friends. I'm just telling the truth, you know. Or maybe tell the truth. You know, he's a degenerate. You know, it's like I know a lot of degenerates, and there's a lot of degenerates that are good people. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of degenerates, it's like, you know, Chino Ream for one. He's a degenerate. But I'm going to tell you right now, he wins a fucking tournament, and you're there when he wins it, he's going to give you fucking money. You know, he's a guy. He's not a guy.
What a guy, Mike. What a guy.
I'm just trying to say, what I'm trying to say is like there's there's a lot of good people that are sick. Okay. And you can't, it's kind of like an alcoholic or a drug addict. You can't hold it against somebody because they're sick, because a lot of people that take money from people and they don't pay them back or whatever. But they want to pay them back. You see what I'm trying to say? They don't do it, but we do have a lot of people in our business that do it maliciously, and they have with no intention. And those are the scumbags. And I got lots of those I can name too, but I'm not gonna.
Well, it's tough, and there is a difference between someone maliciously taking your money and someone making an honest mistake. Yeah. But my problem is when someone is making honest mistakes a lot, then I think that even if maybe malice isn't their primary motivating factor, they do end up in the scumbag territory.
Yeah.
Shit can happen. I can't say this person's name or anything, but when I was younger, I got scammed for an insane amount of money. My net worth was $1 million. This is about 10 years ago or something like that, 9 years ago. And through whatever happened, someone made a real huge mistake drunk, and I lost $250,000. So I lost about a fourth of my net worth. I woke up and I was worth 25% less. Huge hit. Luckily, it was as I was kind of coming up in the game, so I made it back somewhat quickly. And then over the last 10 years, they paid me back slowly and ramped it up over time, higher and higher and higher. And then this year, they've basically paid the entire thing back.
That's awesome.
It's the story you never hear. But that guy made a really horrible mistake, and it's why I never say anything publicly, because he made a really horrible mistake once, and then he spent a decade making it right. Yeah. And then when I see guys like Brad Booth, who still owes me money, and then he's in the pit, and I get people, he messaged me, Doug, I'm going to make this right. By the way, Brad, if you're listening, you haven't paid me any money in years, so it's like
Brad owes a lot. Brad, Brad, here's the thing about Brad.
But just to finish this really quick, to finish my point, Brad would be in the pit gambling it off, right? And owing and running up debts to other people and making these mistakes repeatedly. And then even if he's not thinking, I'm going to scam Doug for $30K here, he just happened to scam me. At some point, you can't just hide behind that. You are a fucking scumbag. I mean, that day comes.
He got fucking Patrick Antonius for $364,000. You know what I'm saying? And the truth about it, here's the thing about Brad. And again, I like the guy. I think he's sick. But this guy was set for life. He had Guy Liberté fucking staking him. Okay. When you watch that high stake episode where he ripped 300,000 against fucking Ivy, and Ivy folds the two kings or whatever with like deuce four offsuit, whatever, like Guy Liberté was putting him in. Right. And Guy Liberté said straight out, I will stake you forever. Just don't play PLO. You can only play Hold'em. Right. And then online the next day, he empties the account playing PLO. And Guy Liberté cuts him off. And the guy was set for life. All he had to do was just not play PLO. Just play only Hold'em. And Guy would have just kept putting him in forever. That's a guy that's a fucking...
Unbelievable.
That's the most dumbest thing. We used to talk about that all the time. Like the dumbest things nobody's ever been in a spot where you have Guy Liberté like loves you to death. You go out on his yacht with him. He loves you. When you get a guy like that loves you to do anything for, how do you fucking do that? You know what I'm saying? So he fucked himself really bad.
I mean, that's insane. That's not just scumbag territory. It's actually in a different category. It's insanity.
I don't even know
you have a billionaire. You have a literal billionaire who has signed up to give you money and says there's one rule.
You can't.
Don't break the one rule. And you're like,
that was the only rule.
What's he gonna do about it?
I mean, think about like all the crazy things people have done. It's like the only rule, you have a billionaire that's going to put you in any poker game for the rest of your life. He loves you to death. The only rule, don't play PLO. Just only hold him. And then you go and you empty the account playing PLO. I'm sorry, but
what if it was a juicy PLO game?
Poker, that's got to be like up either in the top 2, maybe top 1,
But he had the fallback plan of scamming me for $30K in an online transfer, right? When you got that in your back,
scamming Patrick Antonius for $364,000 because he said, "Oh, Guy will pay you back tomorrow," but Guy had already cut him off. Okay, see, that's scummy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, let me tell you this. Even like my ex-girlfriend, right? Her bankroll was like $6,000, right? He fucking got her to loan him 5 of the 6, and he promised her he'd give it back to her the next day, and he paid her back like increments of $300 over like a 2-year period, right? So, but she was decimated. That was her bankroll. Okay.
What was she doing though?
What's that?
She shouldn't have given him the money.
Well, yeah, but she trusted him. I mean, she didn't know. Yeah, she sees he plays all these big games. He said, I need $5,000. I'll give it back to you tomorrow. She
I'm not trying to victim blame here. Obviously, he fucked up. I'm not trying to victim blame.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, here's a good rule at home, guys, if you're listening. When you have a bankroll, don't give 86% of it to someone in a loan that you just trust they're good for it. Okay? Don't do that.
Yeah. And, and another thing to tell all your listeners, too, is in poker, when you loan somebody money, don't think of it as you're loaning them money. Think of it as you're giving them money. And if you get it back, God bless you. Because most of the time you loan people money in poker, it's because you like that person. They're going through some hard times. You want to help them get back on their feet. And you think they're a good guy and they're probably going to pay you back. Okay. But, a lot of the young generation people need to learn is like in poker, like you said, I never mentioned that person's name. He ended up, there's a rule of thumb. You don't out people who owe you money unless they're the scum of the scum. You know what I'm saying?
I don't really agree with that, Mike. Yeah. I think people have done that for way too long, and I think it protects scumbags.
I said unless they're the scum of the scum.
Yeah, but the scum of the scum is too high of a bar. I'm saying I think mild scum should be outed. Just a little bit of scum. I think that should be something, because if someone was mildly scummy and we outed them, and I'm gonna put the people that I think made one mistake in a different category. Okay, so we're just gonna put those people in a different category. But if somebody is mildly scummy, I think that that's something that should be public, because if it is, then it protects other people. How many quote unquote mild scumbags have scummed 10, 15, 20 people before they ended up being, turns out they were a big scumbag.
Fucking, what's his name got me for who's the guy that got second? The guy got second to Chris Ferguson in 2000, the really famous no limit hold'em player.
TJ Cludier?
TJ Cludier, okay. So TJ Cludier used to walk around and, hey, can I borrow 300? He'd get everybody for 300, right? And he got me for 1,600 once. Then he won. Then he got second in the World Series for like 800,000. He still didn't pay me back that 1,600, right? And now look, now he's just ruined. Nobody will loan him any money, and now he's been, kind of, he's getting older. He's going to probably die broke or whatever. But the point I'm trying to say is I can't tell you how many times like I've loaned somebody 300, 400, 500, and I say to myself, please don't pay me back, because if they pay you back, then they want to borrow it again. Now they want to borrow 1,000. Now they want to borrow 2,000.
Why not just say no, dude? Can I be honest, Mike?
I was too nice of a guy. Back in the day, I was just so nice. I just helped everybody out. I couldn't help myself.
I'm racking my brain here, and I don't think I've ever given someone a loan.
Really?
I don't think so. I have a funny story where one of my best friends at the time, he was a high stakes player on Stars at the time. We had hung out a bunch, and then one day he shows up at my house and he says, "Hey, Doug, I have a question." I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He said, "What do you do in this situation? Let's say you have a friend, and this guy, he wanted to take a loan from you, and it was $20,000. What would you charge him? What percent interest would you charge?" And I said, "Well, first off, I would ask, why does he need the money? If there's a real reason he needs the money and there's a way you're clearly getting paid back and it all makes sense, then I wouldn't charge him anything if he's a friend. But if there's a reason he needs the money, you should be careful about that. And he goes, oh, okay. Can I get a $20,000 loan? He used that as the intro to ask me for a loan. I said no. And that was it. We didn't even hang out after that. That was the end of the friendship. The door stopped there.
There was go ahead.
One other story I want to tell really quick before we move off the Brad Booth subject. When I did these transfers with Brad Booth, it was people asked me why did I loan him the money. It wasn't a loan. It was a trade. And in those days, no one knew who I was. So he was the notable person. I was the unknown guy. So I escorted through him basically. And he scammed me for $30,000. And this one day he said, okay, Doug, I got, I don't know, $400 for you or whatever it was. I said, okay. He said, meet me at this gas station. And we meet up at the gas station. It's the gas station on the corner across from the South Point. Okay. On Las Vegas Boulevard and is it Bermuda? I think Las Vegas Boulevard. Bermuda.
Pebble, Las Vegas Boulevard, whatever.
Silverado Ranch. And so we're at the gas station on the corner, South Point in all of its glory. And Brad Booth rolls in. I'm having flashbacks to high stakes poker with the bricks, right? I'm thinking, of course this guy's good for it. I saw the bricks at I think it was at South Point. Bricks on the table. 3 bricks. This guy rolls in and pays me back $600 or $500 or whatever it was at this gas station, and then promises me he'll have more for me soon. And it was so surreal just to go from seeing him playing in those games to this situation so quickly. Life can really come at you fast in the game.
Can I ask you how much of that 30 you've gotten back? How much of that 30 you've gotten back?
I pull up the spreadsheet. Let's see here. Brad Booth. I'm in the wrong email. That's on my phone. I want to say I've gotten about 8K back if I had to guess.
That's pretty good.
Well, I think the last payment was in 2016.
15, 16?
I don't really know, man.
I haven't seen. He's fallen off he was missing. Wasn't last year he was missing and they thought he was dead?
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was missing, and I'm like, so when he was missing, I'm like, well, don't worry about it. He didn't kill himself. He loves himself too much. I'm like, but he owes a lot of money. Somebody might have just fucking been done with it.
There you go. Brad Booth debt recovery. So October 31st, 2017, he paid me. You're not gonna. This is too much. It's honestly too much. He made a direct deposit to my bank account for $100.
See, I'd rather I have no problems admitting it. I owe one person in this world that's loaned me money, and I've paid off like 40% of it, and I was planning on having it all paid off by the World Series until this losing streak happened. But I'm gonna end up paying that person off. But other than that, like the only people I owe money to are either bookies that beat me out of hundreds of millions anyways, or tens of millions anyways, or a few Chinese debts where I lost big in Chinese poker and then everything went bad for me. But I owed $783,000 pre-COVID, and that number is around 160 now. So
good job, man.
That's
well done.
Listen, I could keep it quiet or I could be honest. I made some mistakes. I made a couple of horrible mistakes, especially right after my surgery. I needed to get back on my feet, and I tried to win money too fast. I got in the biggest games. I wanted to just win this money and pay this person back so badly because I wasn't the type of person that borrowed, and I made mistakes and I fucked everything up, and but it made me a better person, Doug. It did, because when you make somebody's a good-hearted person like me, and I get emotional when I talk like this because I know I'm a good person. You know what I'm saying? And we talk about people who make mistakes, and I made a really big mistake, and it was the worst mistake I'd ever made, and luckily we were able to kind of get past it, and person knows he's getting his money back now, but it's it made me a better person. I quit betting sports 4 years ago. I quit just saying, oh, there's a 400, 800 game, jump in it. It's like this is how much I want to risk in my bankroll every day. put myself in a good spot, make sure you get your bills paid, and just be smart. And the old Mike would be like, I'm the greatest, get me in the biggest game. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not in a rush to have 10 million again. I'm in a rush to make my debts good, which is very few now, and to live a life where, I say it straight out, let me be debt free with 2 million cash, and I'll be set for life. I know that it sounds like much, but in the real world, you can live a pretty darn good life with a couple $1 million cash.
Dude, for most people that would be amazing. So that's not an unreasonable.
But up until 2010, I'm like, when am I getting to 100 million? It wasn't am I getting
what was your all-time peak bankroll?
My all-time peak with assets or just cash?
I guess either, whatever you want to say.
With all-time, I would say with cash, assets, I would say about 6.7. Okay. But my cash was like 1.2, something like that. But that went from 6.7 to fucking zero pretty quick.
Was that full tilt equity?
Well, full tilt equity and some other investments I made in a couple companies, and that went to shit. And then my sports betting habit. I mean, I lost 6.8 million betting sports. I was a sick fuck. And I tell people like the story, and they could think I'm lying all they want, but I have no reason to lie. So up until the 2016, when I grenaded that money that I borrowed from somebody.
Is that Daniel, by the way, or is it somebody else?
Yeah, it could be. Up until I did that, right? And up until I did that, I had only had 2 losing months playing poker in 18 years. People look at me like, that's not possible. I'm like, I'm talking about live. I mean, yeah, I got crushed many times online. I'm not talking about online, but live poker.
Some laptops were broken, right?
Oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so, and that's true. So then I lost that money. So I couldn't. So that was my 3rd losing month because I had no money to fucking. If I had had money to, I don't think I would have lost that month. You know what I'm saying? Because I was a grinder, right? And then like I had not had a losing month since then until this last month that I was telling you about, this bad run that I'm on. And so the thing I'm trying to say is I've not only was back then, poker was a lot easier and I was really good, but my learning curve is, let's play in this game. Let's play in a bet. I put myself in spots where I'm just always going to win. You see what I'm saying? The old Mike would just jump in 300-600 game. And if I lost, I would lose. I would lose, the new Mike is like, God, 30,000 is a lot of fucking money.
I think that's called growing up, I think, right? At some
point, it took me 49 years. Most people grow up at like 30 years old. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm still like immature Mike, and I still joke around. Everything's funny, but yeah, it took me 49 years to grow up, and I'm pretty proud of myself for it. I am. I can't wait to make this last few payments to this person and be done with it. But it's just like you got to learn from your mistakes and you got to become a better person. And I tell people every day, just learn from your mistakes, become a better person. You know what I'm saying? Learn, and so many people, even in the business we're in, it's real easy to go from nothing to a lot of money and forget where you come from. And one of my biggest pet peeves are people who forget where they come from. You know what I'm saying? People who forget that when they were broke and I loaned them 15,000 and now they're worth millions, and they forget that 2 weeks that they were supposed to pay me back was 2 years. You know what I'm saying? People who, there's a lot of them that forget where they come from. And me, even when now to the day, I still talk to 3 people at least once a month that I dealt poker with at Samstown in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? You can't forget where you come from. You got to remember how hard it was coming up. You got to remember when you were broke, and that's how you stay level, is not forgetting. Yeah. When you let your ego get the best of you and you start talking, and you start thinking you're better than people, that's when You know, and again, I don't think Phil is like that, but he comes across a lot of times like that, and it's something I try and talk to him about. Like listen, Phil, you got to be careful. Like when you say this, you come across as like a pompous ass, you know, guy that's like think you're better than people, but he's not like that, you know. But he does come across like that. So
He's,
we have talks like that, you know.
Phil is very polarizing, and you can see it in the comments in the recent podcast we did. Just looking at what people have to say, a lot of people like Phil a lot. A lot of people really dislike Phil. He. I think the thing about Phil is that he's so, I, maybe the word is even confident, but he's so sort of willing to put himself out there in a positive light about himself.
Right.
And I think for a lot of people that it's kind of brash and too much. It seems sort of self-righteous in a way. And I can understand where these people are coming from, but I think that the endearing thing about Phil is that he believes in himself and he says it in a way that is passionate because that's how he feels. So
and he's got a heart of gold. Okay. I'll say straight out, without Phil, I wouldn't be the person I am today. He's helped me. He's helped me get on my feet. He's helped me with money management. He's taught me about game selection, money management. Never, told me, Mike, don't lose more than 2 buy-ins in one day, because if you do that, you're never going to lose, because what's the worst when you start going off for the big numbers? There's a rule. There's always a rule. Never lose more in one than you can win the next day. And back in the day, my ego was so big. I was just, I've lost 100,000 a few times, and it's not a fucking, people from her new school that don't know what 100,000, we call it a bean. We lost a bean, we used to call it. And I lost a bean twice, and it's not a fun thing to do. You know what I'm saying? And I know you've played bigger than that, so you probably lost multiple beans.
I feel like all of my big sessions in my life, I lost. All of if I looked at the top 5 or 10 sessions, or even hands, I just got killed in all of those. So I guess I've had plenty of days where I couldn't win back my losses the next day. Yeah. And especially in a career in Heads Up, you never know when you're getting action. So back when I was playing Heads Up, it might be you set all your tables, $1,000 buy-in up to $100,000 buy-in or whatever, sometimes $200,000 buy-ins. And then it might be that most days you get guys at 1K, 2K, 5K buy-ins. And then one day someone sets you at $60,000 buy-in. Well, now I'm going to play a session, and how this session goes is going to define this month of work. Okay. So if I win, it's going to be a good month. Yeah. If I lose, I'm going to lose this month. So I never really got I never had that privilege of being able to play games where you just kind of had to take what you got. But what it does kind of teach you is you try and make the best decision. You don't worry about what happens. You just
all my big losses is because I stayed up for 24 or 48 hours. Every
John.
And now I've had, let's see, since I'll say since I've had, let's go back 5 years. I've played 2 32-hour sessions, which I know that's 2 more than I should have. But, I mean, I used to play like fucking 2 a week. So 2 in 5 years is pretty good. You know what I'm saying? And I've gotten away from that. And I've just, listen, do I sometimes lose more than 2 buy-ins? Sure I do, because the game's real good or whatever. But I try my hardest to try and stick to that. You know what I'm trying to say? And like I said, and Phil's given me a lot of great life advice. You know what I'm saying? So I have nothing. I will always say good things about Phil, but it is funny that Phil is the type of person, he wants to be loved by everybody. Okay, I want to be loved by everybody. Okay, but Donald Trump wants to be loved by everybody. That's why he's the way he is. You know what I'm saying? People that have those, I don't know, narcissistic qualities are people that just want to be loved by everybody. And I'm not saying Phil is a narcissist, but I'm just saying that he has a few qualities like that. But it's just the way it is, and people. I just, I don't know. I just figured things out. That's all. I'm proud of myself for it. It took me a long time, but
dude, I'm proud for you too.
Yeah, so.
You've come a long way. You've had a lot of things you've overcome, and
nothing was
quite
worth
the
the
journey.
injury. The injury I had. I mean, nobody in the world understands what I've gone through the last 7 years. It's like, just imagine the worst thing imaginable and times it by 100, and that's what I dealt with from 2014 to 2019. So it's somebody. It's really weird when you're somebody that never done a hard day's work, and you just sit and play poker your whole life, and you wake up one day and you're almost paralyzed, and now all of a sudden you live life in chronic fucking pain. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fucking pussy. Okay, I hate fucking pain. So for 4 years, I fucking played the victim, man. Why me? Why me? There's no God. God wouldn't do this to me. Why me? Why me? Why? You know what I'm saying? And the day I quit playing the victim, and the day I got my belief in God back, that's when everything changed. You know what I'm saying? And in life, you cannot play the victim. There's the victim mentality will fucking put you in the gutter. Okay? Winners win, victims cry. You know what I'm saying? If you're the victor and you play the victor, you're going to fucking win, and you're going to be victorious, and you're going to be good in life. If you want to say, oh, I don't have that because I'm this, or boo-hoo me, or boo-hoo this, you're not going to get anywhere in life, So, that's why again, I don't want to be political here or anything, but that's, one side tries to play victim mentality, and I'm just so against that because my father taught me. He's like, he goes, Mike, I don't care what you do in life. If you work fucking hard at it, you're going to make a lot of money and be successful. And I believe that. And to this day, I believe it. Name one person that that doesn't work hard in life that's a loser. You see what I'm saying?
One person that doesn't work hard in life that's a loser.
How many people? Yeah. In other words, like you, do you know anybody that works hard that's not successful? No.
Well, it's misleading because I basically all of my peer groups are sort of pre-qualified to be smart, successful people.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be different if I worked a median job in America, I would know plenty of hard workers that are not very successul. Okay. So it's sort of a rigged question.
But here's a question for you. Okay, let's just say you come from poverty. Okay, and I came from a not quite middle class, more low end middle class, but let's just say in 1997, I was living in a $5,000 trailer home, paying $200 a month in rent. Okay, working for $100 a day at Sam's Town. Okay, 125 a day dealing poker. Now, God gave me the gift to be able to play poker, which allowed me to.
I can't do the God stuff, man. Because
okay, that's fine. Whatever, that's fine.
It's okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be nice about it, but I just can't. The God stuff.
I have a gift. Okay, that's fine. I have a gift that allowed me to be successful. Okay, but I worked hard at it. I worked 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right now, let's just say you come from nothing. Right, you're 18 years old, and you work. If you work 2 jobs from 18 to 22 every day, 16 hours a day. Right, by the time you're 22, you'll have enough money put away to get into college. Right now, you get into college. Right, by the time you're 26, you got a degree. And by the time you're 35, you're fucking rich. In other words, if you work hard at it, you're going to make it.
That's not true, man. That's not true. I think that most people, so if you are a hard worker, you are going to, on average, do better than most people. And I think, honestly, I even think this kind of applies to me because I don't think that I think I'm a smart guy, but I don't think I'm a really smart guy. I don't think I'm someone that's really high on the curve of intelligence at all. But one thing that I know well, we're in good company then. Just two average guys just chatting. No, but anyway. But one thing I know I'm better than people is work ethic. And my poker career was always work ethic. It was always I'm going to create the strategies. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to put in the hours. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. And I'm okay with the fact that if me and Jungle Man make up a poker game, he'll probably crush me at it until I think about some math and stuff. But then eventually I will get people because I will outwork them, and I am a good critical thinker and good at those things. But I guess the thing about working hard is there's 3 different things that are all important when it comes to success in life. The first is how hard you work. The second is how naturally talented you are in whatever fashion that is, whether that's intelligence or physical abilities or whatever the arena you're in demands. And then there's luck. And there's all 3 of those things. There's different amounts of them that you need. And poker has a lot of all 3. you kind of need all three. There are certainly spots in my career where I took big shots, and if they had gone badly, how them going well versus them going badly.
I took many a big
I'm
shot.
sure you have, Mike.
Yeah.
What's
I
the
agree.
biggest shot you've ever taken? Biggest shot.
I mean, I played Gus and Patrick Antonius three-handed 1,000, 2,000 on or 1-2-2-4 Omaha 8 on full tilt, and I lost 1.1 million. I mean, that wasn't very. I felt like I was getting cheated. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I know I wasn't though.
Earlier in the pod, okay, all right.
Yeah, I said I wasn't, right. It was like 3-bet, 4-bet. Like I'd have ace, deuce. Fucking Gus is 3-betting me with the deuce 9-9-5 or something like that, and somehow fucking he'd flop a 9, or fucking I'd get counterfeited with the deuce. It would come 3-4. Anyways, I mean, like I ran really, really bad, and so. That was a big shot I took that I got crushed in. That was the biggest shot I ever took that I got crushed in. But if that would have gone my way, which it was supposed to, because I'm really good at Omaha 8, I mean, probably if it would have just gone normal, it would be like a $2.5 million swing probably, So, I think, I used to think about that all the time. Like, how the fuck did these guys beat me? Because Gus's and fucking Patrick's worst game was Omaha 8. And playing these two three-handed, it was like a dream, And unfortunately, we were playing so fucking high. I think we were playing 2,000 and 4,000. I don't know. I lost 1.1 in like 3-week period. Fucking sucked.
Not even. What is that? That's 275 bets. It's not even.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of bets, but it's not.
It's a lot. Playing three-handed, it's a lot because it's always raised 3-bet, 4-bet raise. But that we talk about egos getting to you, right? I truly believe I'm the best Omaha 8 or better. Maybe not now because I haven't played in 2 years, but I'm going to spend the next month working hard in my mixed games because going into the World Series. But when I was playing every day, I was the best. There was I put like 2 people that are close to me, but when I say the best, I'm talking about cash game Omaha 8, short game Omaha 8, tournament Omaha 8. I'll just give you an idea. Since 2002, that's 19 years, right? They have a 10K Omaha 8 every year. I made the final table of that Omaha 8 out of 19 years, I think 7 times, maybe 8. You can check it out. I mean, that's fucking pretty strong.
It's strong, but it is only 19 tournaments.
Yeah.
There's it's
only one a year. It's only one a year,
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying there's something you could do about the sample. I'm just saying when you look at really small samples, obviously if someone does really well, it means they're probably doing pretty well, but at the same time, you don't want to put too much stock in just
so let's just say, okay, so at the World Series, right? Let's just go back like less than 19 years. So there's 4 Omaha 8 tournaments. There's a 3K, a 10K, a 1,500. I'm sorry, they got rid of 3K. 1,500, a 10K, and then there's a 1,500, a 10K of the PLO 8, right? So there's 4 08 tournaments a year. I've made one final table in the last of those out of 4 a year. I don't know. All but maybe 2 years, So 16 out of 19 years, I've made at least one Omaha 8 final table. And again, like you said, you could say it's a small sample size, but if you watch if you really pay attention to 08 and stud 8, the best, I'm telling you right now, when there's 4 tables left, all the bad players are weeded. Yeah, there might be 6 or 7 bad players left, and then you're just drooling to get their table. You know what I'm saying? But you end up, and you don't play much tournament poker, but this is a fact. Table draw is 80% of fucking tournament poker. When I won the 02 Omaha 8 title, right? There was one table that had 3 idiots at it, right? With 3 tables to go. I'm like, please give me that table. Please give me that table, right? And fucking I drew that table. I was like, yes. And I went to the final table second in chips, right? So if you don't think table draw is everything, I mean, it's so.
Table draw's huge, obviously. Huge. Huge.
But I went through a 3-4 year period in tournament poker with 3 tables to go, and they redraw, and I drew 7 of the best players. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? And I'd look over at that table, and there would be 6 idiots and 1 good player. And of course, the 1 good player either won the tournament or finished top 3. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, table draw is fucking pretty important in tournament poker.
Definitely, and it tilts me when when tournament organizers don't correctly do the table draw where it's fair.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's not random, or people get grouped together, or it's near where you signed up.
Well,
Oh, that stuff's so tilting.
I used to talk about this. What's your opinion on this? So like, you know how they have the global poker index, right? So they rate players like 1 to 100, whatever they rate, but I don't even know how it works, whatever. But what if they like they do in tennis, where they separate the top seed against the lowest, you know what I'm saying? And then they balance it out.
Because
So all
then
tables,
the fish get wrecked harder because they have to play the hardest table.
do they, or does it separate? I mean, I used to always think like that back 5-6 years ago. What if they did that?
They end up at the hardest tables then, right?
Well, I'm just saying that it would separate all the top players from all being together. You know, it would give it would equal it out. You see what I'm trying to say? I just feel like when they redraw, let's just say they have a top 100 for each category, right? And they redraw, and out of the 24 players left in an Omaha 8 tournament, 18 are ranked, right? So I think you should like break them up by ranking and to make it equal, not put like 1 through 7 at the same table. I don't know if that could ever work in poker.
I don't think it works, because then there's an advantage to some people, for some people.
Yeah.
So if you're the number one seed,
I was just trying back in the day. I was just trying to figure out a way to like balance the tables where, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, please let me get that table, and you get it. You're like, yes, I'm going to fucking final table. Right. But if you don't get it, you're like, so I'll give you an idea. So in 2008, when I finished 30th in the main event, right, if I would have played the hand like 5 seconds quicker, 3 seconds quicker, I would have got the table that Tiffany Michelle got moved to, which had 6 complete idiots. Okay. Instead, I got to the table with 8 superstars, and you couldn't even open a fucking pot. It was like so hard to maneuver chips. Right. And all those people that were at the other table, all made the final 6. You see what I'm trying to say? So, a table draw is fucking really
important in tournaments, clearly.
Especially late. Late is like so important.
Going back to what we were talking about earlier, though, on like, going through your personal journey and trying to improve. I mean, one thing that I really like about poker, and it was the same thing with video games when I was younger, I do like the journey that you get to go on of trying to build your bankroll and play in bigger games and move up and learn things. And it's like a video game in real life.
No, I used to love that journey.
Up,
so
right?
when you get my age, once you reach about 45, you don't want any part of that journey. Hopefully by then, but you're a smart guy and you've done really well. I don't see you making mistakes and putting yourself in a position where you're broke at 45. You know what I'm saying? But let's just say, I had my injury in 2014. So I was 46. Okay. 46 when I had my injury. Flash, shut up. Shut up. So my 20-year-old cat who just had surgery, poor little guy. Look, he's only got 1 ear now. He took off his ear. He had cancer. They took off his ear, and then they removed his spleen from his little belly. See his little stitches, and now he's all happy. He's such a happy little boy. I tell you what, he's going to be 20 in January. This cat's got more energy at 19 and a half years old than most kittens do.
How long do cats live?
Average like 14, 15.
Holy shit! What a fighter!
So even the guy
after the old man.
Yeah. So even the guy who did the surgery, right? Who I've become pretty good friends with now, and he knew me from poker and stuff, so that we were able to, he watched a lot of poker, and he's like, "Man, Mike," he goes, "I've seen a lot of 19-year-old cats before." He goes, "I ain't never seen one that's got this much energy." He goes, so that's why he felt really good about doing the surgery. He goes, "We don't operate on 19-year-old cats." He's like, they just, they just struggle, but his blood work was really good. And so he felt confident in it. And now the little guy is cancer free, and he's moved. Come on, Bubba, let's go. And he's just a good boy. So let me tell you something in life, like this, I never knew this. I don't have kids, and it's one of my things in life that it really bothers me that I don't have kids, but in this earth right now, with
if you really wanted to, you could still have kids.
Yeah. I have to find someone that's not crazy. I have to do that first. So, but in this world, like there's a lot of negative in this world. I ask myself many times, I'm like, maybe I'm glad I don't have kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, so many of these, I mean, so much shit going on, and just, I said it in 2007 when the internet came and social media. I thought social media was like the worst thing that was going to ever happen to the country, to the world, because I remember back in when I was in high school and stuff, like they would, like, people would pass notes around, say, everybody would make fun of each other, and then people would get all depressed and suicidal, and people were being picked on. Now they put them in group chats all over Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and people and the suicide rate for young kids is like up 72% since social media came out. So, and I saw that coming. So, there's a lot of good with it, but there's a lot of bad. You know what I'm talking about, right? So.
Yeah, social media is, so before I started doing, I guess, marketing or promoting myself, my company, whatever, I was on almost no platforms. I would occasionally just tweet super dumb shit on Twitter. And then
I used to like your dumb shit that you tweeted on Twitter.
Way back in the day?
Yeah.
Mike, do you remember, I think it was 10 years ago when we hung out at Midsummer Night's Dream at the Palm.
Yes, it was my friend's birthday. It was 2011. Yeah, 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was pretty sweet. That was funny back then.
Yeah, we had that big old fucking suite outside. I don't know.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of money for that. I think it was like $5,000 or something. Oh, we had a good time, man.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was me. That was me at 44, acting like I was, or 43, acting like I was like 21. But I did that for a long time.
Wait, how old are you today?
53.
53. Okay, I thought you were a little bit younger, but
yeah. Well, no, I shaved the head. I colored the beard. It made me look like I was like 40. I went from I had to do something.
I saw the fresh dye in Austin.
Yeah. And I just got back from LA, so I have to do that as soon as I'm off the show today.
Nice.
Listen, now I got to keep up. Got to try and keep myself looking good. I mean, I don't give a fuck, but I mean, it's people like my new look. They like my new look, so I kind of like my new look too. So you only have to put in about an hour a week. So shave your head once a week and dye your beard once a week, and that's it. What, Flash?
That's all it takes, I guess.
Yeah.
It is weird thinking that was 10 years ago that we hung out, man. It doesn't feel like 10 years ago. Time really, it moves on you.
Dude, people, my dad used to always say, Mike, you better make the best out of life because life goes by really, really fast, and I look at, I can't believe it's been 7 years since I had my surgery. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember this fucking surgery and being in that hospital like it was yesterday. Now, unfortunately, because of how bad an injury was, and I still have to take a lot of pain pills and all these other things, gabapentin. So it really affects my brain.
That sucks.
And it makes me like brain dead, and it bothers me so much. So it's even harder to play poker when you're half brain dead half the time, and a lot of times I have to take Adderall to help me focus, especially like in long sessions. And like I've only took Adderall now twice in the last 3 months because I don't play the long sessions anymore. I play like our private game will start at 8, and maybe at the longest it goes till it's like 1 a.m. So it's usually like 3 to 5 hours a night. So which is good. So I'm able to stay focused without having to take Adderall. I hate taking Adderall.
Dude, the super long sessions are not good for you. They're just not. I mean, you could play a 10-hour poker session and that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. Do you really need a 15? Do you really need a 20?
I try and keep it at 6 to 8. I try and keep it like
8. That's fine.
If I play 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, I'm going to live a very comfortable life without having to stress so much. If I play in the old days, I'm such, like we talk about it. My work ethic was so strong. I wanted to, because to me, the more you play, the more you win. And I still believe that.
If you're a winner, that is true.
Yeah. But that also goes up into a certain age group. You know what I'm saying? If you start, once you reach your mid 30s, like let's just say, let's just go as high as 38, 39, 37, and you start, taking Adderall and staying up for 2-3 days. I mean, you're not gonna have good results. You know what I'm saying? Because you might think you're gonna, because it makes you feel like you're still focused. Like I'll go back even to the days when I was like, before I even ever did Adderall or anything, but like when I did a lot of ecstasy, and then Tuesday I'd be brain dead, and this girl's like, well, take this, it'll help you. And I didn't know what it was, but it was crystal meth, right? So I took like this little tiny line of it, right? And as soon as I took that line, I'd be like, whoosh, you feel like fucking Superman, and you play poker at this real high level, right? And I'm just like, oh, I found this wonder drug, right? And the first 6 months, taking like this tiny line of crystal meth, I made like 1.2 million in like 5.5 months playing 400, 800. And but what happens is after like 6 months, it turns on you, and and you believe you're playing well, but people are lining up to play in your game as you're giving away money. So but you don't realize it. And like the turning point when I quit cold turkey was July 26th of 2003. I had just come home from Paris, and I was there 7 days. And then I went to a strip club and I partied with the stripper for 2 days. And I said to myself, holy fuck, I've only slept twice in the last 9 days, right? And I said to myself, holy fuck, I need help, right? I right then and there, I'm like, if you're sleeping twice in 9 days, something ain't right. So I went to a doctor. I went and saw a psychologist the very next day. And I said, listen, I don't want to do a drug. I want to quit. I don't ever want to do a drug again, right? And so I told him what I was on, what I was taking, and it ends up like he diagnosed me as having like a mild bipolar disorder, and I was using like street drugs to keep myself sane. You know what I'm saying? So he told me I was going to have like the urge to do this for like a year and a half, and sure enough, like 2 weeks before the year and a half mark, I still had the urge, and then the urge went away, and I never did it again. But like, so he gave me some like antidepressants, something mood stabilizers to help me get through the really, really horrible depression of detoxing off, the stuff I was on. And,
right.
So, I'm one of the lucky ones, but I told myself, I gotta get up. I can't be doing drugs. Like one of my biggest, accomplishments.
Be doing drugs or be doing meth?
Well, be doing meth. Yeah.
Okay.
And so like what it is like, your body's not physically dependent on it, but you are mentally dependent on it. Like you start to believe you cannot play poker unless you're on it. You can't do anything unless you're on it. And so when I won the 2002 Omaha 8 title, I always said it was my biggest poker accomplishment because I quit cold turkey the night before, before the final table, and I was fucking suicidally depressed. I'll never forget, there was like 2 tables to go, right? I go in the bathroom, I'm talking to my friend Matt Lefkowitz and Billy Gazes, and I'm like, I'm fucking detoxing. I'm fucking suicidal. I can't make it. I just want to kill myself, right? And that happens
man.
When you're coming off of hard drugs. This is what happens. And these guys somehow, some way talked me and got me through that night. And then I go on and win the tournament and come back from a 5-1 chip advantage to Daniel head up. And we were good friends at the time. And we all went to dinner afterwards. And I'm going to tell you right now, the look on Daniel's face after, he's like, oh, you ran so good. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay. I did run good. But you know what? I also he tried to end the tournament too quick by playing too many bad hands. And that's kind of like what I did when I, in 97, which would have had another bracelet in the Omaha 8, is I had an 11-1 chip lead, 3-handed against Scotty Wynn and Ted Forrest, right? Literally 11-1 chip lead, right? But I know, I'm turn poker, anything can happen. So Scotty said, give me 10 and Ted said, give me 5 and you keep all the rest of them. So I'm like, okay, so I get 126,000 instead of 141,000. You get 10 and you get 5. Okay, deal, right? And back then you didn't know what bracelets meant. I just was like, I just been a pro for like 8 months. Now I got my first $100,000 score. I'll never forget. I was throwing that brick around that limo. I was throwing it to everybody to touch it. It was a lot of fun, right? And
the bean,
right? And so but when I was head up with Scotty with that 11-1 chip lead, I was just like raise, right, all in every hand. And then he gets lucky 2 hands in a row, right? Now he's got a little bit of chips, and now he ends up winning 11 hands in a row, and he ends up winning that bracelet. But if I know, and this is why one thing that D-Negs told me one time, and after he told me that, I really took it to heart. He's like, Mike, the only people that want to make deals are people that need the money, right? If you don't make a deal with them, you're going to be able to put more pressure on them because they're scared to lose it because the money means something to them. Right. And so then after that, I just quit making deals for a long time. Now everybody's really good now, so I think deals are fair. But back, let's just go from let's say 2000 to 2006. Okay, Daniel is 100% right. You know, if they want to make a deal, they need the money, so that you're going to be able to put more pressure on them. And after I made that deal that day, I didn't make another deal for the next like 5 years. So, you know, it's very beneficial.
I know you're saying with deals for a long period in tournaments, I refused to make deals at all, and that period was my whole career.
Right.
And there was one tournament specifically where I got particularly wrecked. It was 5-handed in one of the biggest 100Ks that I think that there's ever been. That's not been the one drop. It was at the Bellagio. There was a huge 100K. It randomly popped off one day. I don't know what was happening. And we got down to 5-handed, and people were like, let's make a deal. And I said, nope, not making a deal. We can all play. Because I just was like, look, if I lose, so I'm already guaranteed 600K, whatever. Yeah. If I lose, I'm fine with that. I don't care. And if first place is a couple $1 million or whatever it was, a few $1 million, whatever first place was in that tournament, I'm fine just taking my beats and losing that money or losing my value if I have to. But I will make the play I think I have to make. And I just don't think everyone here is willing to do that. I think some of these guys are just going to bitch out and they're just going to try and ladder or they're going to whatever. And I'm here to win this tournament.
Right.
And then, so I said no. They dealt the cards. Cut off opens. I jam ace-5 suited. Dan Smith wakes up with queens, and I'm out of the tournament. I leave as I'm getting my chips taken away. They say, "Sit out. We're doing a chop. Bring them over." Everyone like they'll start working out the numbers. Oh, just that I'm just slink away.
Well, I mean, like I like to talk about like this one. So like, and you know, people could think I'm crazy, you know, but I had a dream that Scotty won the World Series. I staked him. He won the World Series. Okay, I literally had a fucking dream 3 months before NBC Head Up in 2013 that I was going to win NBC Head Up. And I wasn't even going to play it because Head Up, I mean, I'm a good head. I'm not a great head up player. I'm a good head up. I mean,
why do you say head up? It's just you. You're the only guy that does this. Why do you say head up?
Heads up.
Yeah. Why do you say head up?
I don't know. I just
at this point, you got to write it out, Mike. It's okay. Too signature. You're the guy that says head up, but why? Is there a reason you say that?
No, I don't even realize I'm saying it. It's heads up, but for some reason I say head up. I don't know.
Say
why.
Head up, yeah.
Okay, so like, and you call Dustin. He'll tell my trainer about this. He'll tell you the whole story. So I called Dustin on the phone. I'm like, I gotta fucking get in shape. I'm like, why? I had this dream. I won the NBC fucking Head Up. I got to get myself mentally prepared for this tournament. I go, I'm not really a heads up player. See, you got me there. I got a heads up player. And I said, but I know I know this dream was reality, right? So I go and I play it and I win it. But here's the point is we're talking about deals. So I'm heads up with Phil. And Phil's like, so first was 750 and second was 250, right? Or 350, 250 or 350, 750 to 250, a big number, right? Phil's like, let's save 100,000. I said, no, right? He goes, why not? I mean, we're good friends. Blah, blah, blah. Look at that. There's a 500,000 difference. I go, because I had a dream I won this fucking tournament. You can't fucking win, Phil, right? He's like, that's not true. Da, 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 da. Yeah. And Phil's my good friend. I'm like, okay, Phil, we'll save 100,000, right? So we save 100,000. So I got 100,000 less, you know, but I knew I was going to win. It's like I felt like I was giving Phil 100,000. You know what I'm saying?
Did you really know you're going to win though? Your dream doesn't really affect the results.
It really was. I did. Just like the toughest match, like that whole 6 matches, right? Like I got in the zone. You know what it's like to get in the zone. I got in the fucking zone like I'd never been in before. It's like some out of body experience took over me, and I just knew it. Everybody had. I'll never forget when I beat Isildur. Right? He says to me, man, Mike, you played fucking great. I couldn't even figure out what you had. He goes, I think you're going to win this thing. And this was in match 2, right? And now that guy was the best head-up player in the world at the time. When he said
what year was that?
2013, right?
No, he was not the best. I was the
He
best.
was
Pepsi player in the
considered.
world.
He was considered pretty much the best.
No, I was considered I was number one in 2013,
Really?
Mike.
Well, he was playing every fucking human head up, fucking for gazillions. Anyways, so
I had some good sessions versus those days.
Yeah. Okay. So when he says that to me, I'm like, that gives me confidence, right? So now I'm like, all right, I got a dream I'm going to win this. I just beat this guy. He's supposed to be like the best or one of the best, right? And then I played Scott Seaver in the semifinal. And Scott Seaver is a phenomenal poker player. I don't care what anybody says. He's phenomenal.
Did he give you any speech play?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun, right? It was great, right? And we played this fucking match. Like, I had ace king, he had sevens, he wins this huge flip, right? And I'm down to like fucking dust, right? And then all of a sudden I just went, I get it all in with the best hand. I hold. Next thing you know, we're like fucking dead even in chips. And we're like 4 hours into this match, but we hadn't played any, the one flip was ace king versus sevens. That was like the only flip we'd played, right? So now now that the blinds are catching up and Scott moves on with Jack 10 and I call him with ace 10, right?
I misclicked.
And I'm just like, oh baby, I got him, right? And I had him like covered by like two chips. We were that close to even, right? And the flop comes down, Jack 3 deuce. And I looked at him in the fucking eye. I'll never forget it. I said, it doesn't matter, dude. I had a dream. I won the tournament. An ace is fucking coming. You cannot win. And you can go look at the video of this. This is all on TV. Go look at it. You can look it up if anybody out there wants to look it up, right?
2013, heads up.
Semifinals, Scott Seaver, Mike Matusows. And so now a 4 comes on the turn, right? And I'm like, I looked at him like, I looked at him, I said, see? It's coming an ace or a 5. Just, you can't win, dude. And River came a fucking ace. And then I went on to win the tournament.
Oh.
Yeah, but it was so much speech play when those cards were turned up. And I know that they have that. You can go look it up, right? I was talking so much shit because he sits there, he outflops me, he hits that jack, and I look at him and told him he just can't win, you know? And when that ace came on the river, man, it was great, man. It was so great. Man.
Glorious.
Yeah,
had to be a good moment. What's your all-time favorite poker moment? What's the best moment of your career?
I'm gonna. It was always winning that Omaha 8 because of me detoxing and stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and say winning NBC Head Up because people were good, had finally gotten pretty good, and I wasn't one of the top players back then. And for me to have got in that zone, and I did get in that zone. I mean, it's a zone that I've been in only like 4 times in my life. And to win that and to beat some of the very best players, you had fucking Olivia Bousquet fucking saying on Twitter how me and Phil Hellmuth are the worst head-up players. We have no right to even be in the tournament. And he was all pissed before I even got the invite, you know what I'm saying, that I was in the tournament. But people don't realize, like Maury said it many times, this isn't a fucking show about who the best is. This is a show it's a TV show. That's why they invited some famous people.
I was in Vegas. I didn't get an invite.
Yeah. And so even like
because before YouTube, Mike, you know what? Before YouTube, people didn't know who I was. I was just a random online kid. Fuck that guy. We're not going to invite him. Now Maury's like, Doug,
yeah, exactly.
Is on, Doug,
because you're fucking good TV. Because you're good TV. And
come on. No, it's because I built an audience.
You built an audience, but you're funny. You're funny, Doug.
I appreciate it, but I was funny before. Who I was didn't change.
But nobody knew that. Nobody knew.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So like you see, like people like again. I don't want to knock him out. Like I love Berkey. I think he's fucking the nicest human being.
That makes one of us.
Okay, a lot. Okay, you don't like him. Okay, that's fine.
I'm just kidding.
You're joking. Okay, so but like when he plays, he doesn't say a fuck. Everything's GTO. Everything's mechanical. Everything, and it's like. You're just not going to get invited on too many shows if everything is, you need personalities. People don't watch. An average poker player will watch poker go. The best players play against each other, right? But if you remember the high stakes poker, man. With Gabe Kaplan and everything, we always had all the characters of poker, and we had a couple famous people come on. So that's why when Phil played that Nick Wright, Maury's like, listen, he's like, you remember when poker was at its top? He goes, we always had a celebrity come on. He goes, yeah, people might get upset that you're playing him, but it's good for building the brand. And Maury's right, by the way. So that was actually a good decision. You know what I'm saying? Now I I did not watch yesterday, but I heard that Phil bluffed off all his chips when had a big lead off of Tom Dwan late, and he just bluffed it all off like in 3 straight hands. I don't know.
Is that already aired, or is that?
Yeah, it aired yesterday.
Oh, is the streak dead?
The streak is over.
Wow.
Ding dong, the streak is dead. The streak is dead.
Wow.
The streak is dead. He had from what done. This is what I was texted. I heard that. So I heard he had a Phil had a 175-25 lead over him, and then just bluff, and it was over. It was over like in 5. This is what I was told. I haven't seen it yet, so don't. If I'm wrong, this is just a text I got from somebody. They just said that Phil had Tom Dwan dead, and he bluffed it all off.
It's, these things come and go. It's good to see someone new take the crown. It had been a lot of Phil Hellmuth for the.
Well, let's just see what happens in the rematch here. That should be interesting.
That definitely will be. Mike, before we go here, anything you wanna tell the audience about? Obviously, you have your podcast as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have an online home game that I play. It's a $1-2 no limit and PLO. And anybody who's watching on the show and they want to join my home game, just email mouthpoker@yahoo.com, mouthpoker@yahoo.com. And anybody that's listening to the show wants to play, you get $300 in chips for 200. Just mention in the email Doug's podcast and get 300 for 200. I run this home game. I don't really make much money off of it. I do it for my fans. I have a lot of fans that never get a chance to play with me. I usually play, probably an hour a day, 3 or 4 days a week. I have a Telegram with all the players that want to play. When I tell them I'm going to play, so they all come and play. If there's no game going, but most of the time there's a game going. So I do that for the fans. You know what I'm saying? And I there's been many times I thought about just closing it, because I'm really not making any money, but there's so many like loyal people that just love me. They're like, no, I keep the room open. You keep the rake cheaper than anybody in the world. You're a good guy. And I give. And the truth of the matter is, if they're a fish and they play in my poker room, I give them back like I just whatever. I'm giving back half of whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because that keeps the games going. You know what I'm saying? So right. I try and do that. So I have that, and also I run the Mouthpiece podcast usually once a week. Sometimes it's every 2 weeks. We talk about poker. We talk about the name of my book, which is coming out, called Poker, Pain, and Politics: How All Three Made Me a Better Person. And I learned a lot from poker, from being in pain, and from politics. And it's not about politics. Politics made me realize there's more to life than the green felt. And it made me care a lot more about others. It made me care about so many working class people that struggle in life. And it made me just like really kind of connect to those working class people that struggle. And that's on my podcast. I get a lot of people who call in that call in to say to me, I appreciate you looking out for people like us. And that makes me feel good. So, again, it's, the book isn't really about politics. It's about what politics made me as a person. So I got that book hopefully coming out by the first of the year. And, just try and, I tell everybody, I'll say it to everybody else who's watching your show. It's like, take every day of life like it's your last. Appreciate every day in life when you wake up. And then every day, set yourself some goals and try and make yourself a better person, And I know it's easier said than done, because I didn't listen to anybody growing up. It was like, what do you do with all the money you make playing poker, Mike? I go, I don't know. I play higher. What do you think I do? You know what I'm saying? That was just my thought process. But now you get older, you're like, what do you do? I try and do the right thing, pay off the rest of my debts, try and put money in certain spots, put myself in a position where I don't go broke again. It was 8 times. I went broke 9 fucking times. Every fucking time after the third one, I said, I'm never going broke again. This time, I'm never going broke again.
Cat meows in the background during that.
Such a good boy. I've had this cat. This cat has been with me since 2002. He's been with me when I was broke. He's been with me when I had millions. He was with me before I got set up. I got put in jail. Then he was with me after I had millions. Then he was with me when we moved houses after I went broke. Then what, baby? You want to say goodbye to everybody? Okay.
I will say here, Mike, before we go, I really do appreciate how open you are about what you've been through in your life, because you have one hell of a story, and your openness and honesty, I think, goes a long way. And I just appreciate you being willing to kind of share that with me and the audience. And
yeah,
I
because
think
you know
that's
what,
pretty cool.
you gotta listen. You could just be quiet about it and or you could use your voice and talk about the bad things you've done to make you a better person. You know what I'm trying to say? And I just feel like when you talk about the bad things you've done or the mistakes you've done, I think it allows you to become a better person. It allows, like, even your listeners, when they hear that, they'll say to themselves, there's a lot of good things Mike said there. Maybe I'm going to start doing that to help better my life. And if I can help better one person's life out of however many thousands of people that listen to your podcast, then that is good for that. That makes me feel better about myself. You see what I'm saying? And this is coming from somebody, like I said, people used to tell me all the time, Mike, you're so good at poker. What do you do with all your money? I play higher. What do you think I do? Or they say, well, you're going to run bad. No, I can't run bad. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I can't lose. And when you're young, you believe that, okay? And you think you're the best, and you say to yourself, none of these bad things can happen. But then when they do happen, you think about that moment when that guy tried to give you advice in the past, and you were fucking a young kid and didn't listen. And now you're older, and I think about that moment all the time when that guy said that to me, and then all the negative things happen. So basically, me being old, it's just like, there's going to be somebody that's listening to this podcast, and it's going to say to them, it's going to make them do better things. If it makes them do one better thing, then that makes me happy. So that's why I'm like that.
Awesome. All right, cool, man. Thank you very much
Thanks for having me on
today. Appreciate you spending time.
Yeah, nice. Time as always, man.
Always. For the audience, that's going to be it for us today here at the Doug Polk Podcast. We will be back on Monday with Nate Silver. Should be a good one. Hope you guys tune in for that. If you are new to the podcast, make sure to hit the subscribe button. You can follow us. We're kind of all over the place, but YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Facebook, and we're on Twitch. We're doing all the stuff. So Doug Polk Pod, basically everywhere you can follow, and make sure you don't miss out on anything. Once again, thanks to Mike for joining us today. Everyone, that's going to be it from us here. Have a good day. I'll see you soon.